New York Times is engaging in. I would have certainly like to see them do a full-throated endorsement. I'm sure the candidates would have liked it a lot sooner as well. But I do think it's a test. And I do think it will be hard for the candidates on stage tonight to explain it the way you just did if Lander does proclaim that he is the New York Times editorial panel endorsed candidate. How do you take that away?
Greg, you're shaking your head. You don't think this matters?
I don't think endorsements have the weight that they did even 4 years ago. Why? Because there is an absolute cataract of content that is shot in everybody's phone every moment, that it just doesn't have the impact that it used to have. And again, I agree with you that did they make a
I talked about Alex
between,
Padilla already.
You know, 7 people Brad Lander definitely has 7 votes. I can say that definitively.
The timing on this, though, is tricky. There is a little bit of indication in some of the polling that Lander's got a little bit of momentum. He's clearly sort of in 3rd place. But Adrienne Adams also just went up on air because she was late into the race and just got her public matching funds. I think we're going to see some very interesting polling at the beginning of next week. Early voting will have already begun. But in this final week, 10 days, I think we're going to see some indications that things have shifted. Even in one of the polls that came out this week, not necessarily indicative of exactly where the race is at. In the next to last round, Lander was within 3 points of Mamdani for who would go on to be against Cuomo in the final round. There's a lot of potential movement here, and I think the question of whether Cuomo's numbers come down further in these polls to come is really something worth watching, because that's some of the trend here, I think.
Yeah, I mean, even in some of the, the internal polls have been flying around. People are putting out tons of polls about how he's the winner, she's the winner, et cetera. But the last legitimate poll that was out there was from Emerson College a couple of weeks ago, and it said that Andrew Cuomo's unfavorables were 47%. And everyone in New York City, I would think, mostly everyone in New York City knows who Andrew Cuomo is. So how do you even change any of those minds?
Well, that leaves 53%. If all 53% rank him ahead of Mamdani, then he's in good shape. Adrienne Adams, by the way, there was this weird episode yesterday where she put out a post on social media attacking Mamdani, sort of, and then took it down, but then later said that she still sort of stood by it. Meanwhile, Mamdani actually encouraged people to give her money. So I don't really know whether she's decided whether to attack him or not.
Her team had said that she did not write this tweet. Basically, it was a video of Mamdani on MSNBC a couple of days ago saying that ICE should be abolished.
That's worth watching tonight.
Yeah.
Adrienne Adams, Mamdani, I think.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for now. We are going to head to John Jay College in just a minute. You can join us online at ny1.com or on the Spectrum News app during the debate. Courtney, Bernadette Hogan, and I will be live blogging our commentary throughout, and let us know your thoughts using the hashtag
I can't believe he's said
and we
abolish
will all be
ICE.
back at 9 o'clock as soon as the debate wraps up for our post-debate special with reaction from the candidates and our own analysis. Now here is Errol Louis, Brian Lehrer, and Katie Honan with the candidates at John Jay College.
Good evening. Welcome to the final Democratic primary debate in the race for mayor of New York City. I'm Errol Louis, political anchor for Spectrum News New York 1, and we're coming to you from the Gerald W. Lynch Theater at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, located on the west side of Manhattan.
I do think there will be more attacks coming Zoran's way now that he has not a commanding lead, but like at least one poll that shows him leading.
The candidates have been making their pitches to New Yorkers for months now, and we are only hours away from the start of early voting across the 5 boroughs, starting on Saturday.
Over the next 2 hours, you're going to hear from the 7 leading Democratic candidates on their proposals on issues directly affecting the lives of New Yorkers. A reminder that the mayoralty is currently held by Eric Adams, who has withdrawn from the Democratic primary and is running in the November general election as an independent candidate. Tonight's debate is brought to you by the New York City Campaign Finance Board, the city agency that administers the Public Matching Funds program. It's also sponsored by Spectrum News New York 1, WNYC Gothamist, and The City, and Spectrum Noticias. And our co-sponsors are John Jay College of Criminal Justice, the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at CUNY, the Center for New York City and State Law at New York Law School, and the Museum of the City of New York. And you can watch tonight's debate without a paywall on ny1.com. It's also being broadcast on NYC TV, WNYC Radio, the Spectrum News YouTube page, and C-SPAN, and in Spanish on Spectrum Noticias and YouTube.
The candidates joining us tonight have met a polling or fundraising threshold established by the Campaign Finance Board in order to take part in the debate. In alphabetical order, Adrienne Adams is the City Council Speaker representing parts of Southeast Queens. Andrew Cuomo previously served as governor of the state of New York. Brad Lander is the New York City Comptroller. Zohran Mamdani is a state assembly member representing parts of Queens.
I really hope the first question is about Israel. Please, I need to know. I need to know how much people want to. I really need to hear about how much they love Israel. Please ask about Israel. Oh my God, look at the ribbon.
Now for the rules. The rules that you see on your screen right now have been agreed to by all of the candidates. Each candidate will deliver an opening statement of up to 45 seconds. Answers to our questions will generally be limited to 60 seconds.
Wait, is Cuomo not attending? Did I miss him?
Of the moderator. And candidates will have an opportunity to ask one opponent
is the ribbon bigger?
Question during our cross-examination round. We're going to begin with opening statements. The order was determined by a random drawing this morning, and so we'll begin with Scott Stringer. Good evening.
Well, good evening. Look, I love New York City.
And
I was born and raised here.
And I love Israel.
And I believe the future of this city can be limitless. But let's face it, people are feeling that it's getting tougher to live here. People who built our neighborhoods are leaving the city. Young people who want to lay down roots here do not see enough opportunity. I say enough
I
is
hope
enough.
everyone declares their allegiance, because otherwise I don't know who to vote for.
We need a mayor who has competence and a mayor who has a vision to build affordable housing, to enact universal child care, to build a public school system so that kids can thrive. I've seen the best of this city in every neighborhood as controller, as a borough president, as a state legislator. And I know that right now at this moment, we need somebody who has the ability to make sure this city can rise again, and I'm going to do it.
Okay, next is Elnor Myrie.
This morning, I was on Flatbush Avenue getting my hair cut so I could be fresh for this debate.
He loves the
anecdotes. Walked in and didn't talk to me about politics. She said, "What are you going to do to fight for immigrants like me and my husband?" I got on the train as I left, and I ran into a mother who said, "What are you going to do to fight to help make our schools world class?"
He loves his anecdotes.
So here's the thing. You're going to hear a lot of promises, a lot of nice and cute things on the stage tonight. But when you put your head to the pillow, you want a mayor that is going to fight to keep your family safe, fight to keep that roof over your head, and fight to give you opportunity. I know that because that's what I think about every single day. And I'm ready to put the gloves on as the next mayor to fight to make that a reality.
Thank you. Next candidate is Whitney Tilson.
Good evening. I'm Whitney Tilson, and I'm not a politician. I'm a businessman and philanthropist, and I entered this race because I love this city, but right now it's a mess. It's not talent that we lack. We've got the best and brightest, nor money. We spend double that of any other city in the world. It's leadership, and we can't afford amateur hour in City Hall anymore. It is rightly said that being job of mayor of this complex, enormous city is the second hardest job in the world. That's why we need a mayor who's experienced, competent, and can get things done, not a social media phenom with cute videos. Someone who can balance the budget and make tough choices, not pie-in-the-sky promises that there's no realistic plan to pay for, and someone who will keep us safe by ending chaos, not inciting it, by supporting law enforcement, and by not threatening to defund and dismantle our police. I will be that mayor, and so I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Okay, our next candidate is Adrienne Adams.
Thank you very much. My name is Adrienne Adams, and I'm running for mayor because I'm an everyday New Yorker, just like all of you are. When I open my front door, I see what every New Yorker sees, and that is we are in need of a change. I raised 4 children in Southeast Queens in the same home that we live in. I buy my own groceries, so I know the costs of groceries for everyday New Yorkers. Look, as the leader of the city council leading the most diverse city council in the history, led by a women majority, I realize what leadership truly is. I'm already doing the job. I have successfully negotiated 3 city budgets. I'm now in the middle of negotiating my 4th city budget. I continue to lead and step in where our current mayor has not, where we have fought through the city council budget cuts. We have saved public libraries and pre-K. I'm Adrienne Adams, already doing the job, asking you to rank me #1 to be the first woman mayor of the city of New York.
Next candidate is Brad Lander.
If you watched last week's debate, you already know I'm not the flashiest candidate in this race.
Damn.
I don't have a famous father. I'm not the best at TikTok. My daughter's here. All her videos do better than mine. But I love this city. I believe in its future.
God, you are
and I know
so
how to
zesty,
make
Brad.
government work better.
You are
As
so...
controller, I've saved taxpayers over $2 billion.
He is dork maxing every time, dude.
Manage the pension funds to record highs. I've built or saved over 50,000 affordable homes. As mayor, I'll deliver 500,000 more. That's why today the New York Times opinion panel said I'm the best choice for mayor. I've got the public integrity that New Yorkers deserve, the progressive values that New Yorkers share, and the management chops to deliver on them.
Next is Zohran Mamdani.
My name is Assemblymember Zohran Mamdani, and I am running to make the city affordable. I'll freeze the rent for millions of tenants, make buses fast and free, and deliver universal childcare. And before you ask, I'll pay for it by taxing the rich, the same billionaires who put Donald Trump back in the White House, the same ones who are funding Andrew Cuomo's campaign. Like many New Yorkers, I wasn't born in this country, but I grew up in this city, and it's one that we're in danger of losing. We're under attack from authoritarianism from the outside and an affordability crisis from the inside. Yet if you turned on your television 20 years ago, you'd have heard the same tired, failed policies you'll hear from politicians tonight. It's time for a new generation of leadership. And that's exactly what my campaign is building. A movement of more than 36,000 volunteers who have knocked on nearly 1 million doors and left us just 2 points away from City Hall. So join us, and let's win a New York you can afford.
Next is Andrew Cuomo.
Good evening, and thank you all very much for having me here today. I do have a very famous parent who I'm very proud of, Matilda Cuomo, and I hope she's watching. Everyone has a plan, as you've heard. Everyone always has a plan. That's always the way. But the question for tonight is, who has the ability to get the job done? That's really the question. Who can build housing? I built housing across the nation as HUD secretary. I built LaGuardia Airport, Kosciuszko Bridge, 2nd Avenue Subway, and more. Who can do public safety? While my colleagues were defunding the police, I was adding more police. Who can manage the city? I manage the state that has double the budget of New York City. And who can take on Donald Trump? That is the big question. And he sent troops into cities all across this country, but he never sent them into New York when I was there, and he never will when I am mayor. A job looks easy when you haven't done it. Experience matters. I will get the job done. I will work for you 24/7.
Thank you for your opening statements, candidates. Mr. Cuomo, many New Yorkers are concerned about what's happening in Los Angeles. Workplace immigration raids and deportations, protests with some violence, the president's deployment of the National Guard and the Marines over the objection of the governor and the mayor. The Trump aide Stephen Miller said the mayor has no say. If you were mayor of New York right now, how would you handle this situation if something like that happened here?
Yeah, we had this situation before, right? This is not a case of first impression. President Trump did this and Trump won. He did it a number of times. He sent troops into cities all across the country. This is him being macho, authoritarianism. He's the commander-in-chief. He never sent them into New York because I said to him, you better never send troops into New York. We don't need them. It would be a hostile act. It would be a problem. Right now, in this situation, we're going to protect our immigrants. This is a sanctuary city, and we are going to defend the laws of the sanctuary city. We have an NYPD that is the largest police force in the United States of America. Donald Trump only picks fights that he can win. He cannot win a fight with me.
Yeah, because you're aligned. He also already has a DOJ case on you. You're compromised.
You know, what is so troubling to see right now is we also have the NYPD assisting ICE in some of those very missions right here in New York City. We saw the Strategic Response Group arrest a pastor who was peacefully observing the arrest of a migrant at Federal Plaza. When I am the mayor, the NYPD will serve public safety of New Yorkers. They will not assist Trump's ICE agents. And furthermore, though Donald Trump may not believe in the law, we have to be clear that we do, and we will in fact bring back our law department to its pre-pandemic staffing levels, 200 additional lawyers, and start to provide lawyers for immigrants who are in deportation cases, because we know that by doing so, we in fact increase their likelihood of coming home to their families in New York City by 11 times. Finally, we can see examples in previous mayoral administrations where the mayor's team, like Steve Banks in the last administration, took every single step they could to ensure that none of the personal information the city had would be turned over to the Trump administration. I would follow that example through all of our agencies.
Say that he's compromised by the DOJ.
Ms. Adams,
Ooh, big
staying
claps.
on this topic, but with kind of a follow-up. If the president sees what he thinks is disorder in the streets and believes that local and state law enforcement officials are not doing a good job at protecting citizens and property, why shouldn't he step in? His supporters say that's his responsibility.
We are right now dealing with a lawless president enacting lawless behavior across this entire nation. As one who continues to speak up and out against Donald Trump, currently Donald Trump would like to bring ICE back onto Rikers Island, which has been illegal since the year 2014. Through an executive order put forth by the deputy mayor of the city of New York, not the mayor of the city of New York, which is unprecedented. They want to bring ICE back onto Rikers Island. And the person that is endorsing me, she is the baddest AG in the nation. Her name is Tish James. She said, Adrian, if Donald Trump starts to get in your way, sue him. So I am suing him. I am suing the mayoral administration and Donald Trump's ICE. We will continue to protect immigrants when I am mayor, just like I am protecting them as the leader of the city council. We will make sure that Donald Trump's ICE obeys the law. We are a sanctuary city. I am here to protect that in the city council. And when I am mayor, I will continue to protect.
No, she got more emotion than Kamala. She has more passion than Kamala.
Continuing on the same track, but if the president says the mayor has no say, which seems to be the case because he did deploy the Marines and the National Guard, what would you do? What could you do?
Let me tell you about how the mayor could have a say. Last Thursday and again this morning, I went down to the federal building to observe immigration court and then accompany immigrants out past ICE agents so they could get out of the federal building and back to their families. One was a couple with kids in our city school system. They were worried they weren't going to see them again. So I stand up to bullies. I don't back down from a fight, and I will make clear that we're going to protect the 40% of New Yorkers who are immigrants, and we're going to keep them safe, and we're going to keep New York City safe. You can de-escalate conflict. What Trump wants is to strike fear and escalate conflict. We're going to make clear we stand up for immigrant New Yorkers and we de-escalate and keep the peace. I do want to tell you, though, about some immigrant New Yorkers that Andrew Cuomo screwed when he was governor, and we're defending in my office. A couple of hundred immigrant subway cleaners who he made clean the subway cars but cheated out of the prevailing wages and health care that they were due. We're fighting right now to get it back. I stand up to bullies, and I'll stand up to Donald Trump.
Mr. Cuomo, you were named, so we may not be able to do this every time all night, but you were named, so you get a brief response.
I don't know what Mr. Lander is talking about. The MTA contracted for cleaning services. I assume that's what he's talking about. The MTA goes through a rigorous contracting process. They should never have hired illegal immigrants if it is true. But obviously, I had nothing to do with them hiring.
I'm sorry, is that what you said? What did you call them?
If anyone was undocumented or they didn't pay the proper wages, I had
they're
nothing to
laughing
do
at
with
him
it.
in the
What
room.
you
Didn't pay them the proper wages. You cheated them out of the prevailing wages they were due and the health care they were due.
I didn't contract with them at all. The MTA contracted with them.
Who appoints the chair of the MTA?
Oh, I see. So every contract that the MTA contracts, you want me to be held responsible?
This one, yes, because
You get
immigrant workers got cheated out of $2.5 million and their health care, and the orders
Bad
came
luck.
from on high.
Yeah, so you
Boomers
said
hate
if they did it,
when
that would
someone
obviously be
just
wrong.
says,
The
it's not
MTA
my
contracts
responsibility.
For $6 billion per year. They have multiple.
Why the f do you want to be mayor then, jackass, if you're not going to be responsible?
The state of New York, who audits the books. I'm sure he's almost
Okay,
as good
Brad.
as you. And if
Okay,
that
Brad, I
happened,
take
he
it
would have
back. He was
found
dork
out.
maxing, but he's now cooking.
Workers under city contracts.
But
Nerds rise up.
Trump, and Mr. Stringer, you can reply to that if you want. But my moving on question is, his administration has made deep cuts to some programs that directly fund services for New Yorkers. A listener to my radio show asks, how do you propose addressing funding shortfalls for critical services, or which programs will you prioritize above others, assuming you can't make up for all the funding gaps? And please tell everybody how you think your approach would be better than the other candidates.
Sure, Brian. Well, look, I was in Trump 1 when I was a city controller. And during that time period, I didn't let him get this city down. During my time, I managed to divest $4 billion from fossil fuels controller. I divested from gun manufacturers. I divested from private prisons. I put the line in the sand with that guy, and I will do the same as mayor. Look, when you grow up in Washington Heights, everything comes your way. And you understand the only way to deal with it as a bully is to draw the line early and fight back. So here's specifically what I'm going to do. First, as mayor, we're going to establish a very, very rainy day fund. We need to get $500 million from the state and $500 million from the city so that we can continue to replenish the money that Donald Trump is taking from us. $80 million was taken in the dead of night. We need to keep the social safety net alive until Hakeem Jeffries becomes the speaker and we can dismantle the Trump organization in just two
the ribbon
seconds,
looks,
just to straighten out the two of
his
them.
ribbon does
I was
look
the one
tiny.
who brought the prevailing case with the MTA on those workers, and I believed very strongly then that we have to make sure that we pay wages so people can live and stay in New York, and that's why I did it.
Mr. Myrie, same question about dealing with the defunding of the city.
Yeah, first let me put my lawyer hat on for a second. What Donald Trump is doing right now is flat out unconstitutional, and we got to say that very clearly because they are counting on the chaos being normal. They're counting on us being relaxed about this approach because we see it in the headlines every day. It is flat out unconstitutional, and we should not, as a city, hesitate whatsoever to bring it to him when he's coming after our folks in this city. So look, I want to hire 50 more lawyers to our law department so we can go on the offensive. And the best way for us to be independent of the Trump cuts is to expand our tax base. That is why I want to deliver 1 million homes over the next 10 years. It's why I want to extend pre-K and 3K to 6 p.m. It is why I want universal after school for everyone. This has to be a city where you can raise a family, where people can make the choice to stay here, when they can spend their money in our local economy. We can create $18 billion over the next 10 years if we create 1 million homes over the next decade. That is what I plan to do, and I plan to go on offense every single time this bully comes after my city.
Mr. Tilson, Mr. Tilson, you'll get the last word on this. People are talking about standing up to President Trump. Can it ever be smart, in your opinion, to hold your tongue about your worst opinions of him so that New York could possibly get better treatment? Or would that not be effective?
Yes, possibly. There's a grim anniversary coming up on Tuesday. It is the 10-year anniversary of Trump coming down that escalator, spewing hatred and xenophobia, and I've been fighting him tooth and nail every day of those 10 years. That said, he is a childish bully, and getting into a Twitter war with him needlessly would hurt our city, I think. He tweets a lot of crazy stuff, and most of the time, if you simply ignore it, he moves on to his next childish foolishness. So to your question, I will fight Donald Trump as mayor, stand up to him, sue him if necessary. But my job is to serve the people of New York, and that sometimes involves not provoking.
You guys are booing the guy with the biggest ribbon, a community of anti-Semites, clearly.
10% of our city budget.
The ADL was right. The ADL was right. Ethan Klein was right. I've manifested a community of anti-Semites. You are not supposed to boo the candidate with the biggest ribbon. Who says to ignore Donald Trump. Just ignore him, it's fine.
Elected to any office. So, and then if we consider age, one of you would be, if elected, the oldest person ever to be sworn in as mayor, while another would be the youngest mayor to take office in more than 100 years. So let me start with you, Mr. Mamdani. What do you say to critics who think that a 33-year-old assemblyman who's only been in office 4 years needs more experience before becoming mayor?
Oh, my mistake. I didn't realize you guys were saying you're booing him because you want a bigger ribbon.
To judge me by the campaign that I am running. A campaign we began with about 2 full-time employees polling at 1% that has now grown to be one where we manage over 36,000 volunteers that have knocked on nearly 1 million doors. And ultimately, what I will deliver to New York City is what I've been delivering in this race: innovation and competence. And I will do so by hiring the best and the brightest. Because for too long, we've had an understanding of leadership where you simply want to replicate each one of your ideas and hire the people who will be quickest to say yes to whatever you say to them. I will instead hire the people who have the track records, the excellence, the fluency. And it has been a pleasure to meet with incredible officials like Maria Torres Springer, like Patrick Gaspard, like Steve Banks, like Amit Baga, so many who have delivered that public service and that public excellence in this city. And that is what I would be doing as the next mayor of this city of New York.
Mr. Myrie, similar question. What would you say to New Yorkers concerned that your legislative record, however lengthy, is not the same as running an organization of 300,000 employees?
Listen, I think New Yorkers want a mayor that is going to deliver results for them and to do it when it is difficult to achieve. I've passed over 60 bills that have become the law. But when I ran for state senate back in 2018, Albany was dysfunctional. Some rogue Democrats, propped up by Andrew Cuomo, prevented so many legislation that would help everyday New Yorkers, whether it was protection for tenants, whether it was reproductive health, whether it was climate legislation, whether it was your right to be safe in your neighborhood. And on day one in the state senate, I passed something called early voting, which all of us are going to participate in on this Saturday. So I am about the results and about the work. I have built coalition. I have listened to stakeholders. I've done really difficult things. That is the job of the mayor, to get everyone at the table and to achieve something that people said was impossible. I've been in the business of delivering for the people of my district. I look forward to doing the same thing for the people of New York City.
Okay. Mr. Cuomo, if elected, you would be the oldest person ever sworn in as mayor. If you served 2 full terms, you'd be 76 years old upon leaving office. Is somebody in their 70s the ideal age for holding the second hardest job in America?
Let's do 1 term at a time if we can. I think you raise a very important point. Experience matters. And I think inexperience is dangerous in this case. Mr. Mamdani has had a staff of 5 people. You're now going to run a staff of 300,000.
He never says his last name right, by the way.
He's never dealt with the city council. He's never dealt with the Congress. He's never dealt with the state legislature. He's never negotiated with the union. He's never built anything. He's never dealt with a natural emergency. He's never dealt with a hurricane, with a flood, etc. He's never done any of the essentials, and now you have Donald Trump on top of all of that, and he's never dealt with what I think is the greatest national threat that we face in this president. To put a person in this seat at this time with no experience is reckless and dangerous. To Mr. Lander and his experience, remember, this was the fiscal watchdog under the Eric Adams administration, which was like the bookkeeper at Tammany Hall.
Mr. Mamdani. To Mr. Cuomo, I have never had to resign in disgrace. I have never cut Medicaid. I have never stolen hundreds of millions of dollars from the MTA. I have never hounded the 13 women who credibly accused me of sexual harassment. I have never sued for their gynecological records, and I have never done those things because I am not you, Mr. Cuomo. And furthermore, the name is Mamdani, M-A-M-D-A-N-I. You should learn how to say it because we got to get it right.
Yeah.
Mr. Lander.
May I respond?
My response, or is this my
I don't
60
care
seconds on
about
that
your
question?
last name.
Let Mr. Landers speak, and then you can respond to both.
Okay.
Just to be clear, is
Those
this my
women
response
deserved
to
it.
Andrew, or
I'm
is this my 60
Italian.
seconds?
It's my
This is your response
culture.
if you choose.
Thank you. So I've gotten so many Eric Adams contracts canceled, we can't keep track. He tried to put a $432 million no-bid crony contract, and we audited it, and we got it canceled. We have done it time and time again. Andrew knows a lot about corruption. That's part of the experience he had. He created a corruption commission and then killed it as soon as it got too close to him. But his senior aides had to resign in corruption disgrace. And let's be clear, he has experience. But leadership is not inviting 25-year-old young women into your office, as he admitted he did, and then asking them about their intimate life and whether they would date older men. I lead by building the best teams, not through sexual harassment, corruption, and disgrace.
Mr. Cuomo.
Mr. Mamdani's right. He's never done anything, period.
Mr. Mamdani.
This is a man who
Mamdani. Just say the name right, Mamdani.
This is a man who has done nothing. He's accomplished nothing. 3 bills are all he passed.
City full of immigrants.
He has the worst attendance record in the New York State
City
Assembly.
full of immigrants.
He has
They've
never
all
had
experienced a guy
job.
like Andrew Cuomo up their
Zero
name deliberately.
I want to be very
And now
clear.
he thinks he's going to be ready to be mayor of the city of New York. It is laughable. It is laughable, and it is dangerous.
I want
really
Mr.
quick, and then
Cuomo
we're
to
gonna
look
move on.
out into the crowd and look at Richard Chow, who lost his brother to suicide because of the taxi driver debt crisis. I went with Mr. Chow over many, many months organizing to push this very city to finally reckon with its complicity in that. And we won $450 million in debt relief. And I want you to look at him and tell him that that's nothing.
Okay, let's move
Oh, he used personal anecdote. Oh my God. Oh my God. He had a crowd
Just right
placement,
to
personal
chase and
anecdote.
tell what's really going on here. So, truth be told, experience matters. And Andrew Cuomo has experience. I know that. He does. But vision matters. And Mamdani said it right? Mamdani,
almost there.
Okay, I'm getting there.
Almost there.
But you have the vision, and you have articulated it during the campaign. The problem is we need somebody who can do both.
Oh,
and my experience and my vision, when you combine it, is the third lane to win this race, and that's what we have.
Laughing.
Very good, very good.
We cannot have a mayoralty on training wheels, but we also have to have a mayor who's willing to go to town hall meetings, to meet with the voters where they are, and that hasn't happened with the experienced candidate. Now, one last thing. Every job I've had, state legislator, I introduced rules of reform in the assembly and got it passed. As Manhattan Borough President, I actually built affordable housing. I didn't do 1 or 2 rezonings. I did that as my life's work and made a difference. As controller, I built the best controller's office that Brad
This is where Mamdani is supposed to turn around. This is where Zoran is supposed to turn around and basically be like, listen, experience is negligible because Andrew Cuomo's entire experience amounts to New Yorkers experiencing failure and a quality of life diminishing. We don't want that. That's why I'm running. We need people who are dynamic. We need candidates who are younger. We need candidates who are actually experienced with the life experience of what it's like to be working poor in this city. Not someone who comes from a political dynasty that has cursed the New York State and New York City for their entire lives and is directly responsible for all the pain New Yorkers feel in this affordability crisis.
As one that has seen 120,000 units of affordable housing coming up in the city, as one who has championed the largest victory for affordable housing in a generation, as one that is already doing this work, as one that has taken private skills from the private sector in management. I have trained people that will make more money than I will ever make in a lifetime. And bringing those skills with me into the public sector, into the New York City Council, now leading a body of 50 council members as the one with the experience ready to go to work tomorrow, because where I work is where everyone else on this stage aspires to work, in City Hall in Adrian Adams, New York.
Okay. I have a question for you, Mr. Tilson, related to this discussion. You have frequently said on the campaign trail that, quote, career politicians have caused many of the city's problems or made them worse. You said tonight, in fact, that this is no time for amateur hour. Explain why a lack of experience running a city agency would make you a better manager than some of your rivals here.
I actually view not being a politician as a feature, not a bug. It is possible to hire people into administration, of course, who have the experience of running a big bureaucracy. I would point to Mike Bloomberg as my inspiration when I decided to run for mayor. He had never held elected office before. I think he was one of our greatest mayors. He steered us through the global financial crisis, and I believe that having someone like him, who I saw was independent of all the special interests, who in a low turnout off-season primary like what we're having right now.
Like, this guy is for no one. I can't in good conscience believe that there are people out here that look at what this guy has to offer and goes, yeah, that's my guy. I really want like a soulless technocrat, VC guy, a hedge fund guy to run the city. That's really going to fix the problems. Oh, at least got the fattest ribbon, you know?
Which I think is more relevant to managing one of the world's largest bureaucracies.
Okay. Thank you, candidates.
It's also funny because,
like, when New Yorkers are asked their top concerns, one of the biggest issues is always affordability, particularly the high cost of housing. Millions of New Yorkers in rent-stabilized apartments are currently awaiting a final ruling from the Rent Guidelines Board about how much they could pay more each month in rent. But first, we'll get to a crucial question about the production of housing. We want you, the candidates, to address New Yorkers with your top proposal to ease the housing crunch. And I'll start with you, Mr. Myrie. We know you've been vocal about a plan to build and preserve 1 million units of housing. You mentioned it earlier. Is that a realistic possibility given the current dynamics in the city?
Let me tell you what's real, Katie. People are leaving the city because they can't afford to stay here. They can't afford the rent, can't afford to own a home. Like me and my wife, who were looking to put down roots in the same neighborhood we grew up in, people are struggling. And we've had leaders of the past that have put their solutions forward, and things have only gotten worse. So yes, 1 million homes over the next 10 years, because we can't keep nibbling around the edges. That is the only way we're actually going to bring down the cost of housing. And listen, is it going to be challenging? Of course it's going to be challenging. But anything worth anything is going to be hard to do. We built the Empire State Building in 13 months, and we did it 100 years ago. Come on already. Of course we can do 1 million homes. I want to change our public land to be affordable housing. I want to convert our industrial areas to residential. We have commercial real estate space that is laying vacant that can be converted as well. We have opportunities to revitalize NYCHA. We got to be bold in this moment, but we need the leadership and the courage to get it done, and that's what I'm going to do.
Thank you. Mr. Stringer, your housing model, your housing plan is to model a highly successful plan from the 1950s. You call it Mitchell-Lama 2.0. It sounds ideal, but how would you pay for this expansive plan?
Okay, this is where we just got to have an honest conversation. I get $1 million. I could easily say we could do 2.5 million, given my experience. It's all. Put that aside for a second.
I love
People
him.
Need affordable housing now. They need
not for mayor, but just I love him in general.
We take the 1,000 vacant lots I audited as controller, and we give that land back to the people, to not-for-profits, to limited profit developers. We don't ask the luxury developers to build the low-end and affordable housing we need. We get a generation of people to come in and build the tens of thousands of units of housing. See, it's not just about building housing. The second question, or the question that I care passionately about, is who are we building housing for? We got to build more housing, 2- 3-bedroom apartments for families, so that after the second kid, they don't leave, they stay here. We need to do what we did with Mitchell-Lama housing, a housing stock that is the best practice in the world. We got to build more of that housing, integrated housing, because the people who moved into those buildings, you know what they did? They didn't just exist in those apartments. They built communities, schools, and daycare centers. And this is a promise I can keep while I'm alive, while I'm mayor, and we'll see what happens going forward. But let's do that immediately on day one when I'm mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Lander, as mayor, you declare a housing emergency which could help you build 500,000 homes, including on city-owned golf courses. How do you get the citywide support for this plan?
So the New York Times opinion panel today said I was the best choice for mayor because I combine clear and bold plans and a real track record of delivering. That is especially true on housing. In the neighborhood around the Gowanus Canal, when I was council member, I organized the community to support redevelopment. More housing, more affordable housing is going up there than anywhere else in the city, and the community's supporting it because it's coming with open space and affordable art studios, as well as 3,000 genuinely affordable homes. We're even fixing up the NYCHA units nearby. As controller, I saved the 35,000 rent-stabilized units that were put at risk when Signature Bank failed by investing to buy the mortgages on them. I know how to do this. I have a detailed plan for getting 500,000 units built. That's around the Interborough Express, where we've got new opportunities for transit-oriented development. And we can build great new neighborhoods on 4 of the city's 12 golf courses because people will be excited about courtyards for families, about daycare centers, about new schools and libraries, places they could own in neighborhoods they will love.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Cuomo, you were HUD secretary, you were governor for more than a decade, you managed a nonprofit housing organization. What would you say to voters who wonder if all that experience might end up being, in the end, the wrong experience, since after decades of work, we've ended up in a housing emergency here in the city?
Yeah, I would say, Errol, I would say, look at
That's what I mean.
Right?
That's why you can use experience against Cuomo like this.
Everyone has a plan. They had a plan to build LaGuardia Airport.
Like it shouldn't be coming, but that shouldn't be coming from the fucking moderator. It should be coming from Zoran.
But nobody could do it until I did it. They had a plan to finish the 2nd Avenue subway, but nobody could do it until I could do it. Now we have plans to build affordable housing, and we do need hundreds of thousands of units of affordable housing, there's no doubt, but we're going to need a different model. The city HPD does not work to create this volume. The state housing program does not work to create this volume. We're going to have to accelerate the ULURP program, and then we're going to have to open every option available. NYCHA units, office to residential conversion, every city-owned piece of property we have to look at, air rights, how do we maximize it? we are going to have a full-on assault to build affordable housing. And yes, it's one thing to have a plan. It's another thing to have the ability to do it. And that's where New York City has fallen down time and time again, not the managerial ability to complete a plan.
Ms. Adams, you mentioned the recent City of Yes rezoning that you were instrumental in helping to pass. It's supposed to create tens of thousands of units of housing, but the experience of past rezonings, like the one in downtown Brooklyn, suggests that it can take as long as 10 years or longer for rezonings to result in actual construction. If you're elected mayor, what would be your plan to get units built more quickly than that?
We're going to build it faster, and just to let Mr. Cuomo know, I've got a plan. It's already in the works. It is called the City of Yes, the City for All, something that I have already ushered in. So the work is already being done. We're hearing a lot of plans and policies, but this is something already, I'm already doing this work. We have already begun the works for the City for All, and in that proposal, it is the most aggressive rezoning proposal in a generation for this city, to build upwards of 82,000 affordable units for New Yorkers. We want to keep people here. I want my children to stay here. I'm an everyday New Yorker. I don't want them leaving because New York is not affordable for them. And so I have made sure that there is $5 billion that is put into the City for All proposal. So, Mr. Cuomo, we are going to take care of the HPD vacancies within that $5 billion. We're going to make sure that communities like mine in Southeast Queens are protected, infrastructure is protected. We're going to make sure that we've got extended and expanded access to City FEPS vouchers. We're going to make sure that there are repairs available for NYCHA residents and Mitchell-Lama residents. And we're going to make sure that homeowners also have access to funding to make sure that the homeowners have repairs. We won't have to look at foreclosure in the volume, and we don't have to look at deed theft in the volume. I'm already doing the work. I'm already there.
Thank you.
And still on housing, and to bring the last two of you into it, Mr. Tilson, you said in the last debate that your housing construction plan is the opposite of Mr. Mamdani's. More private sector, less public. Can you elaborate on that in your 60 seconds, and then we'll hear Mr. Mamdani argue for his approach.
Notice how everybody is going in the public direction?
In 4 words, it'd be unleash.
Except for the hedge fund guy?
That is the only
That is because of Zoran, by the way.
Build anything like the scale that we're talking about. I said it's the opposite of his plan because his plan is to spend $100 billion city dollars to
The counter to this is so simple. It's like, oh, if the private sector was supposed to help New Yorkers, it would have by now. What you're describing is the past 30 years of private-public partnership. And I think every New Yorker that doesn't make $20 million a year like you recognizes a very different reality than someone who is out of touch, such as yourself, experiences.
By 15% in 3 years, and rents drop by 20%. I don't just want to stabilize rent. I think we can drop rents in this city. That's the objective. But right now, it's outrageous that businesses and real estate developers have to hire expediters to deal with the city bureaucracy. So it's a much bigger problem, and the mayor controls most or all of this.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani.
I met a grandmother in a senior center in Brownsville, and she came up to me and told me that she'd been on a waiting list for 7 years for senior housing, and that she wasn't sure if she was going to be able to stay in the city any longer. The reason that my campaign is committing to building 200,000 truly affordable homes is because if we don't, we will lose the very New Yorkers who built this city. And we will lose them unless we rapidly scale up the programs we already have. Programs in HPD like SARA, Senior Affordable Rental Apartments, ELA, extremely low-level affordability, the very kind of programs that are built for the New Yorkers who are being priced out of the market. And we do this while also ensuring that it is easier to build even for the private sector. We end the requirement to build parking. We end this piecemeal approach that we've taken, instead having a city-wide comprehensive planning approach. These are the kinds of ways in which we can actually ensure that we start to build more than 4 houses per 1,000 people, that we actually start to get up to Jersey City and Tokyo and build the housing that's necessary in this city.
To finish this round, by a show of hands, I will translate for the radio audience, how many of you would support a rent-stabilized rent freeze this year? Hands up if you do. Okay, the ones whose hands are up are Stringer, Myrie, Mamdani, and Lander. Not up.
State the question, please.
Would you support your donors who gave you $2.5 million to freeze the rent?
In the rent stabilization system this year, rent freeze this year? Yes or no, Mr. Cuomo?
Would I vote for a rent freeze this year?
Yes.
I'd leave it to the Rent Guidelines Board.
Now, who controls them? The mayor.
We appoint them. The law controls them. You should read it once in a while.
The law didn't control you, did it?
You should read it.
Ms. Adams, your hand was not up, was it? Why not?
It was for, yeah, it was raised.
Oh, it was
There has
raised.
to be a balance there,
So
though,
only
between the
Mr.
homeowners as
Tilson's
well, though.
hand was not up.
Oh, my
That
God.
was a yes or no.
Oh my God.
And finally, also
She
on
went
the show of
half up
hands,
because
on
she
rent
supports a
freeze,
balance
no.
for the
A
homeowners.
listener to my show asks, would you be open to tying rent increases to landlord rates of return, their profits, rather than simply on 1 year's costs?
The last time we had a rent freeze, it was
Yes or
terrible.
no, if you're open.
Okay. I'm going to figure out where you live and I'm going to call up your landlord and I'm going to tell your landlord to increase your rent because it seems like you're not paying enough. I mean, by your own admission. Are you chill with that?
Already.
It's part of the formula.
It is part of the formula. Now you look at a variety of
Oh,
factors.
I own my
including net
house.
operating
Yeah, there it
income
is.
Relative to cost.
Well,
as it should
then
be.
this doesn't
Mr. Lander's
this
right. That
doesn't
is the
worry
law.
you at all.
look
This
at the
doesn't
costs
this shouldn't
that the
bother you at all.
landlord is, incurring, and that's how you set the
Asshole.
increase if you do.
But also the profits. The
Yes, but they-
profit margins.
Yeah, they do an economic analysis.
Yeah.
That's what the Rent
Okay.
Guidelines Board does.
Katie.
Thank you. And this question is for Mr. Cuomo because it did come up earlier.
My grandmother
Many
is a
voters are
landlord.
grappling
Of
with
course
how
it does.
To disqualify you or not
Yeah.
after the sexual harassment
Yeah, I
findings
hope.
that led to
I'm
your
sorry to say
resignation
this,
as
but I hope your
governor.
grandmother
How do
is
you
not going to
argue
be able
people should
to
consider that
have a
factor and
higher
let the other candidates give their take?
higher profit margin next year.
I would ask them to look at the facts and not the political rhetoric that you hear on this stage. I said when the report was issued, it was all political. That's what I said. And I said nothing was going to come of it. 4 years later, we've had 5 district attorneys, Democrat, Republicans, upstate, downstate. They've all looked at them. Nothing has come of them whatsoever. There has been one civil case that's been resolved. I was dropped from the case. So absolutely nothing has come except political fodder for my opponents and political fodder at the time.
Do any other candidates want to chime in?
Andrew, you admitted at the time that you called a 25-year-old staffer into your office and asked her questions about whether she'd had older partners and whether she was available and intimated that you were looking for a partner. Everybody here knows that you sexually harassed women, that you created a toxic work environment. We're here with all these CUNY students, many of them young women. I went to the City College commencement. The valedictorian is going to come work at the Department of Homeless
I'm going to be
Services.
100% real, by the way.
Don't go home
It's kind of
because the
crazy to
mayor
say
is
this,
a
but I
sexual
don't think
harasser.
women give a shit about rape, like voting for rapists. Like, at least looking at the current margins for Cuomo, there are a majority of women who don't give a shit. And also Trump, too, obviously.
At the time.
I never said that. I never said that. And by the way, that has been totally disproven.
Obviously, men don't give a shit at all, even though, ironically enough, white men are the only demographic that's more pro-Zoran than pro-Cuomo.
A
But
report was issued. The DAs looked at it. They all disagree with you. I was dropped from the case. So those are the facts.
The Biden Justice Department and the Attorney General of the state of New York, and again, it was reported that you admitted at the time that it was a mistake to call that 25-year-old into your office. Folks can check the record.
And the
and
Attorney
folks
General,
know if he worked for you, you would fire him.
hang on. Attorney General's just wrap up. The Attorney General's report was determined by a court to be hearsay and not a finding at all. I understand Mr. Lander is just appalled.
The women who accused you of sexual harassment, that's what you're calling hearsay.
The district attorneys looked at all those complaints, and not a single case
we're going in circles. Let's we're going to move on. Candidates.
Better than the facts.
Obvious that this is disqualifying.
Candidates.
The man resigned. Should be obvious. The problem is we do not get to address the issues that New Yorkers care about.
Yeah, that's
because
just what we're going to do. That's just what we're going to do. Just hang on. We are done with this topic. We're going to move on to the next one, candidates. Let's talk about quality of life, concerns about disorder and public safety. The number of complaints about disorderly conduct in New York City have nearly tripled compared to the pre-pandemic year of 2018. Arrests for disorderly conduct have risen significantly, but New Yorkers still say they are less satisfied about their quality of life than in the past. So we're going to start with you, Mr. Lander. Do you want the NYPD to address quality of life violations, or is there some other way to do it? And how would you address concerns about quality of life without violating constitutional rights or opening the door to accusations of illegal profiling?
As mayor, my #1 priority will be to end street homelessness for people with serious mental illness. When I talk to people about what's influencing their quality of life, what would they like changed? They would like to be able to get on the subway and feel safer. Last week, I talked about a friend whose middle school student was pushed to the ground by a mentally ill, homeless person. But we don't have to be a city where a couple thousand of our mentally ill neighbors sleep on subway platforms and the sidewalks and stoops of our buildings. And yes, of course, NYPD have a role to play in keeping neighborhoods safe, getting guns off the street, but no amount of policing is going to connect a homeless mentally ill person to the housing and services that they actually need. The plan that will is called Housing First. It's working in Houston and Denver and Salt
guys,
City.
he's not. Don't get caught up in the language. He's not wrong.
I will use it to end street homelessness for people with serious mental illness.
He's not wrong, and he wants to do housing first. Like he's dork maxing, but he's right.
Okay, Mr. Stringer.
Like, what are we doing here?
Your direct question, which is the issue of quality of life.
The goal is to get people the care that they need, and the starting point for that is
people
housing first policies.
With trash. They don't want to live with broken sidewalks. They don't want a 311 system that can't resolve the basic day-to-day issues that New Yorkers face. We've gotten away from that kind of work. You know, swagger to me is different than swagger at City Hall today. Swagger means I feel satisfied when we help somebody get the services we need. How I'm going to do it specifically, we got to have a deputy mayor.
The fact you have to hurt your followers and then they comment, yeah, he's right. Or maybe there's 50,000 people in here and some people disagree with me and some people don't.
Responsible for the day-to-day running of the city and resolving complaints and issues. We need to
Have you
measure
ever thought about that?
We need to look at the data at 311. We need to do the follow-ups. I'm going to be the mayor.
No, you don't think about anything. You're a moron.
That comes to town hall meetings and communities, just like Ed did as controller.
Stupid.
Roll my sleeves up, go in front of hundreds of people and say, let me have it. What do you want? What's going on? And I will resolve the complaint in 24 hours. That's the kind of mayor that we need in this city to keep people here and to make sure that we become the beacon of the greatest city in the world.
Okay. Mr. Mamdani.
You know, when I speak to New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, what I hear time and time again are these very kinds of complaints. Complaints around the cleanliness of our streets, complaints around whether the parks that they love can actually be maintained. And so many of them come back to a mayoral administration that has underfunded city agencies time and time again, literally requesting to take garbage cans off of sidewalks. That's what we have had for the last 4 years. I'm proud to have been endorsed by DC 37, the single largest labor union representing municipal workers in this city. The people who run this city trust me to lead this city. And what I will do is fully fund each one of those agencies to ensure that we are not just providing public service, we're providing public excellence so that each and every New Yorker is finally receiving the quality of life that they deserve living in this city.
Okay. And so, Mr. Myrie, really in a lot of ways what I'm getting at is that the city government and a lot of voters, frankly, will reflexively reach for the NYPD as the best tool to handle what they perceive as disorder, which some people say is kind of a stepping stone towards crime, or in some ways a precursor to it. What's your take on that, and how would you handle it?
Yeah, let me first say, Scott, you got a little bit of swagger. You got some sneakers on today, so I don't want you to discount yourself.
Oh my God!
All right, very good.
No one laughed.
So let me say this. Look, I walk the streets, I take the subways just like you do, and part of the reason that people are frustrated with politics is because you walk the streets, you take the subways, and then you listen to folks on this stage, and it's completely divorced from your reality. Here's what I want to do. I think we need police and clinician teams in our subways and our streets 24/7 to get people on the path to real recovery. New Yorkers are compassionate people, but we want to ensure that people are actually getting that help. So I want stabilization centers in every borough so that we can deliver that help. Public safety requires us to do two things. We understand that police officers are necessary, but we also have to invest in the things we know prevent crime and disorder in the first place. That's why I want 50,000 more summer youth jobs so that it is universal. We have no young person on a waiting list. Stop telling our kids what not to do without giving them something to do. I want universal after school as well so that we can have a safe place to be and have our families have a place where their children can stay.
Okay. Mr. Tilson.
Yes, to answer your question directly about enforcing more quality of life issues. For example, I ride my bike almost every day in the city. The e-bikes are fast and dangerous, and we're riding up on the sidewalks, blowing through red lights, and cops started enforcing it, and I can tell you, being out there every day, they're now obeying the law. That is the kind of thing that contributes to the feeling of lack of safety.
Cuomo's winning in most polls. Zoran is winning in one.
What I would not do is
but not by Cuomo's not winning by a wide margin.
Corrupt by threatening to defund and dismantle them, as Zoran has done. And we are at a 34-year low in the number of police officers. There's only one candidate on this stage, him, who has not said that he would try and build that number back up. So I think his Department of Community Safety, which he talks about, is just backdoor code word for continue to defund the police. They are demoralized. They are understaffed.
And not the cops,
we've created a revolving door where an officer at the Midtown North Precinct, very close to here, actually told me she is still filling out the paperwork for most of her arrests, and the criminal is back out onto the street before she's finished.
Did you want to respond?
I want to say it very clearly, because both Mr. Tilson and Andrew Cuomo's Republican billionaire donors have been lying about me on our television screens and right now. I will not defund the police. I will work with the police because I believe the police have a critical role to play in creating public service, public safety. And fundamentally, when I put together our proposal for the Department of Community Safety, it was built upon the many conversations I had with rank and file officers who had told me that they signed up to join the department to take on serious crimes. And yet what they were being asked to do is play the roles of mental health professionals and social workers. And that is part of the reason why 65% of crimes in the first quarter of this year are still not solved. We need to ensure police can focus on those crimes, and we have mental professionals and social workers to address and tackle and resolve the mental health crisis.
Whitney, did you not talk about my police retention plan, or you didn't?
Come on, Scott. Ms. Adams, I want to bring you in the conversation because you were at City Hall when the funding question came up that has been interpreted by some as defund the police. what was happening then in that particular session with that particular proposal? And if you're elected, what would you do about this question of where and when and if the police get involved in quality of life policing?
Thank you for asking the clarifying question, Errol, very much. The FY 2021 budget season was a very, very tough season for the New York City Council and quite frankly for the mayoral administration as well. We were still masked up in the pandemic. And New York City was very, very underfunded as a city. We were looking towards going in the hole, if you will. So several city agencies had to take a haircut. The NYPD was one of those agencies, as were many, many city agencies. Heck, the New York City Council, we had to take a haircut. So there was funding reallocation that happened across the board for New York City because of the pandemic. So, I mean, services were cut. Many folks out there realized that some of park services were cut and other services were cut as well, unfortunately. So that was the climate that we were in, quite frankly, during the pandemic season. As mayor, though, I know that New York City is fiscally found. Our issue right now is going to be Trump-proofing the New York City, Trump-proofing New York City, which I am doing right now as one who is negotiating the 4th New York City budget, something that no one else on this stage can say. And we've already put aside in reserves through my leadership on the council $1.9 billion to begin to protect the people of the city of New York from Donald Trump's harsh cuts. We want the administration to not match us, go above us. We're going to need to make sure that our resources.
Some chatters in Tehran are saying that they're hearing explosions.
That our children, our seniors, our health care is
Be
protected.
safe, chatters.
And as leader of the
Iranian
city council,
chatters.
I've already made a start in doing just that.
All right, thank you. Mr. Cuomo.
Yeah, if we wonder why the people watching this are frustrated, is because of the disconnect of what they're hearing. They are afraid on the streets. They feel unsafe. You can quote statistics all day long. They get afraid walking into the subway. They get afraid walking down the street when they see a mentally ill homeless person. We did defund the police. We did. We cut $1 billion from the police. People on this stage said, defund the police. That was the chant. And $1 billion was taken from the police department. Mr. Mondami says he would dismantle the police.
He still says it wrong. Everyone's laughing now.
That's his expression. Mr. Lander said, I'll admit, progressives like me were slow to recognize the problems of crime and quality of life and mopeds.
See, it's not so difficult to take responsibility, is it?
That's what he said, that they were slow to realize the crime that people were living with. We have to get back to safety. I would add 5,000 police officers. Yes, we need mental health professionals who also help work with the mentally ill, and they're two totally separate things. But this city has to be safe. Opportunity for youth is part of it. But if people don't feel safe, Errol, they're not going to stay. End of story.
Okay, real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I think New Yorkers want accountability. They want accountability when people commit crimes. They want accountability when officers use excessive force. They want accountability when top brass violate their office. And they want accountability from elected officials. So, yes, I said we were slow to reckon with rising disorder. Here's how I'm going to actually deliver it. You've never taken responsibility for one single thing you've done wrong in your entire life. Not one single thing. You should try it sometime.
Okay, Ms. Adams, real quick.
Yeah, I just want to clear up the whole defund mystery here that keeps on being used as far as the New York City Council and the FY 2021 budget is concerned. Let's just be clear. The budget is negotiated with the mayoral administration. The NYPD is a part of the mayoral administration, and the reallocation of funds was done with the knowledge of the NYPD, not in any far-off land, far away. I don't know how long you've been out of it, Mr. Cuomo, but it's been a while. So I just want to make sure that we are clear here tonight. Old slogans and scare tactics aren't going to make anybody in New York City safer.
Okay, candidates, thank you. Candidates, we're going to move on to our lightning round. That's where each candidate will answer our questions with a brief response, usually yes or no. I'm going to start with a show of hands one. Despite changes in technology, do you still have a Metro card in your wallet? Show of hands. Mr. Myrie, Mr. Cuomo, Ms. Adams still have the Metro card. God bless you. Let's go down. Name one department that you would make cuts to. We'll go right down the line. Mr. Tilson.
Israel has declared a special state of emergency in the home front.
Lightning.
Following the state of Israel's preemptive strike against Iran.
I think there's a lot of fat to cut in the DOE budget.
A missile and drone strike against the state of Israel's civilian population is expected. They literally started bombing Iran and then declared a state of emergency, claiming it's a preemptive strike against Iran. What the fuck?
Efficiencies in every city agency to make them more run better and efficient. So it's not about cutting or targeting one agency. It's really about doing due diligence in all the agencies. Sorry.
Mr. Myrie.
Yeah,
Holy
I think, New Yorkers
shit.
experience city services every day. It's not about who has what. It's about how we're delivering. So I think it's important that we are efficient in that. I think we can shift some funding from the Economic Development Corporation to our city's general fund.
Mr. Mamdani.
I think we have to end our city's addiction to consulting and contracts. We're currently paying McKinsey millions of dollars to design a trash can. We don't have to do that.
Mr. Lander.
Last year, we paid out $2 billion in claims against the city. I'll put them on the books of city agencies so they have an incentive to reduce them. They can keep half the savings. It's hundreds of millions of dollars we can save.
Mr. Cuomo.
City government hasn't been properly managed in 12 years. It needs an overhaul from top to bottom. That's what I think has to be done.
Where'd you start? Where would you start?
I think if housing is a top priority, I would start with HPD because that's one of the first jobs we have to start.
Okay, Ms. Adams.
You know, I'm still negotiating the city budget, the only one on the stage that's doing this thing. So let's just be real about it. The mayor actually implemented
Israel is not maybe attacking Iran. Israel is attacking Iran right now. They have officially declared a preemptive attack against Iran and also officially declared a state of emergency. Breaking as of 3 minutes ago from Barak Ravid, Israeli Minister of Defense Israel Katz declares a special state of emergency in the home front throughout the entire state of Israel. Following the state of Israel's preemptive strike against Iran, a missile and drone strike against the state of Israel and its civilian population is expected in the immediate future, says Israel Katz. Israel officially conducts strikes in Iran. So the chatters in Tehran that reported hearing explosion sounds were correct. It is not yet clear what Israel is targeting. Also, statement posted by the IDF to Telegram just now changes the Homefront Command defensive guidelines. Following the situational assessment, it was determined that as of today, at 3 a.m., immediate changes will be made to the Homefront Command guidelines. As a part of the changes, it was decided to shift all areas of the country from full activity to essential activity. The guidelines include a prohibition of educational activities, gatherings, and workplaces, except for essential sectors. The public is required to follow the guidelines published on the official Homefront Command channels. Full guidelines will be updated on the National Emergency Portal and the Homefront Command app. After hours market closed 5 minutes ago. Holy, did Israel just strike? They struck right on the dot. Now, America has said that it won't participate in an Israeli strike on Iran. But, of course, this does not mean that America won't defend Israel. Let's be real. America is defending Israel.
Park every day. We circled the park and had a number of favorite playgrounds. I'd say the favorite we called playground number 1, which is at 96th and 5th. And I've actually called for permanently making the park's budget 1% of the city budget, so it increases with the city's budget. Their parks are our gems.
Mr. Stringer.
1% for parks because every kid deserves outdoors, and we have got to make sure we fix all the parks, not just in wealthy communities. But look, my favorite park is where the kids want to play. So if it's on a basketball court, I'm there. If it's Central Park, I'm there. Rockefeller Park, I'm there.
Commercial jets that were heading to Tel Aviv have begun to turn around over the eastern Mediterranean.
My favorite park is Prospect Park, and my parents... Let's go. Yeah, Prospect Park in the house. My parents are here in the audience with us, and it is where I learned how to ride a bike. It is where they took me throughout my childhood. So I absolutely would commit to 1% to our city's parks. It's a shame that we have not done that already.
Mr. Mamdani.
I would absolutely commit 1% of the city budget to the Parks Department. I'm proud to have done so over the course of this campaign, and I have to say that my favorite park is Astoria Park.
Mr. Lander.
Zelnor Myrie is right on this question. Prospect Park is the best park in New York City, and my kids are here, and they played baseball and learned to ride their bikes, and I was just at the Celebrate Brooklyn concert opening. Yes, we'll do 1%, but we've got to focus it on the parks that need it most. I passed a law that helps us do that, and as mayor, I'll make sure we focus on those parks that have been way too long neglected.
Thank you, Mr. Cuomo.
Yes to the 1%, and I'd also like to see the private sector.
I'm in Tehran. We heard a really loud explosion followed by several faint explosions. My parents are in Karaj, and they're also hearing explosions. Trump posted this right at 7-2. The Trump card? Ain't no way, no. Mike Huckabee is in Jerusalem right now. Obviously his favorite place on the planet. At our embassy in Jerusalem and closely following the situation, we will remain here all night. Pray for the peace in Jerusalem. What was targeted? How will Iran respond? They said they will target U.S. bases. So many uncertainties. I know. And there's a lot of people posting footage, but we don't know. Like, I don't know if this is confirmed. Do you understand? So we'll wait for more trusted resources. I'm not going to go with like BNO News. You know what I mean? Israel's now striking the capital, Tehran. Israel lacks the heavy bombers needed to destroy deeply buried Iranian sites like Fordow and may resort to repeated raids. The Pentagon canceled a top general's visit to Israel, signaling distance from any strike plans. Why Israel can't destroy Iran's nuclear program alone. Hardened nuclear sites, buried under 80 to 100 meters of rock. Only U.S. GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator B-2 bomber exclusives can reach it. Israel lacks both the GBU-57s and the B-2 bombers. Israel's GBU-28 can penetrate 6 meters of concrete, insufficient to destroy Fordow or similar deep sites. There's also operational limitations, over 2,000 kilometers one way, requires multiple in-air refuelings, tanker capacity. Israel's fleet is too small for sustained long-range operations. The conclusion, Israel can carry out targeted attacks, but destroying Iran's nuclear program outright is beyond its solo capacity. U.S. help is essential for such a mission to succeed. This is from Axios. Tehran, sounds of explosion heard in Iran's capital. Israel's defense minister... I already covered that. Yeah, here's also another ominous development. Per a cable obtained by Dropsite News, the State Department is creating a Middle East task force to coordinate crisis-related support to U.S. citizens, public messaging, and diplomatic engagement due to increased tensions in the region. As in, they're setting up a specific task force for manufacturing consent to potentially go to war with Iran. Considering that they didn't set this up for the past 19, 20 months of genocide, to defend Israel's image, this means that America will get more hands-on involved, and in order to deliver their hands-on involvement to the public with a more appealing message, this could be the reason why they're setting up a task force. The Iranian journalist is posting more video footage as well of more sites that were bombed, seemingly. Is the debate over? No, but I'm tuning away from the debate for a second because this is, this is a developing situation. It has a high priority. The debate is coming back from break right now, but also no NOTAMs for civilian flights in the area. Planes are still flying. Commercial airliners have started turning around. But I think when they declared a state of emergency, that also comes with a NOTAM, right?
From John Jay College of Criminal Justice. We're more than halfway through the debate with the 7 leading Democratic candidates. Now it is time for the cross-examination round. That's when each candidate gets a chance to ask one question of one rival. Our order was selected at random, and we'll begin with Scott Stringer.
Thank you, Earl. My question is for Adrienne Adams. So during the City of Yes negotiations, you successfully brought billions of dollars in benefits and opportunity on top of City of Yes. As you know, I've been campaigning because I really do believe we can have a realistic opportunity to take those parcels of land and turn them into affordable housing. Do you envision, or would you sort of signal that that idea could be coupled with funding, the funding that you obtain when you start thinking about your own implementing your own housing agenda if you were mayor?
Well, Scott, thank you for the question, and thank you for recognizing that I have ushered in billions of dollars for housing for the people of the city of New York.
Stock Guy says it was time to be exactly after the U.S. post-market close so no one could get ahead of the commodities or futures. I'm inclined, just so you're aware, they waited until right after the post-market close. That's what someone in the chat was saying as well. I normally, under other circumstances, if it was another country, I would say, like, there's no way, and it's just a coincidence. But Israel is so lasered on American politics and whatever the going on in America. Like, they will use uncertainty or moments of panic in American discourse as an opportunity to shelter themselves and will, like, they are super dialed in. Oil and gold spiking, stock futures falling. Obviously they didn't time it for the New York debate about questions against Zoran chatters. The S&P 500 dropped in the last 2 minutes after market trade. Someone new and sold, hence the big price swing. At a time when there's growing instability in the United States of America, where people are experiencing, like, there's too many different things to hyper focus on in day-to-day American existence. I feel like Israel could have seen this as a unique opportunity to strike, especially as the Iran denuclearization agreements with the maximalist position that the Trump administration pushed forward was seemingly going nowhere. The only reason why I'm shocked that they did it now, after signaling that they would do it sometime before Sunday, was because of Trump's military parade on Saturday. I know that sounds really stupid, but Trump is really stupid. He is exactly the type of guy. He's exactly the type of guy that would get mad at his birthday parade getting up by a ally. But also, once again, Israel is an extension of America. So nothing Israel does, I think, is considered on its own, independently from without American supervision.
And the organization's platform is not the platform of this campaign. The platform of this campaign is the one you can find on the website at zohranfornyc.com. That's a platform that is going to deliver an affordable city for New Yorkers who are currently being priced out of what is instead the most expensive city in the United States. It's one that we're going to deliver public safety to each and every New Yorker, and we're going to do so by recognizing the critical role that police have to play in that, and also by creating the Department of Community Safety so that police do not have to do the work of mental health professionals, and that we can follow the example, the evidence-based policies we've seen be successful elsewhere in the country, and start to divert those mental health calls outside of the police department so the police department can focus on the 7 major categories of crime.
Okay. Next is from Ms. Adams.
Yes, thank you. I was looking for Errol to.
Okay, I don't care. Who's this?
Oh, okay. Thank you. I have a question for Assemblymember Mamdani. I know how to pronounce your name.
Thank you very much, Speaker Adams.
Assemblymember, I've raised
preemptive strike is just a strike? Whoa, dude. Dude, dial it back with the anti-Semitism. Excuse me. No, a preemptive strike is actually an act of self-defense if Israel is doing it. Anyone else doing it to Israel or anywhere else would be considered a direct escalation of violence. But if Israel is doing it, then it's actually anti-Semitic not to consider it a preemptive defensive act. Perhaps the most moral and the most woke and the most kind thing to do. I will not allow this kind of anti-Semitism to manifest in my community. I'm sorry. You are taking a second off, sir. Please.
That we are the most qualified to lead this city, because if we didn't believe that, then we would have no business running for mayor. And ultimately, I believe that because I believe the most pressing crisis we're facing here is one of affordability. And that is something that my campaign has been laser focused on. And that is why I'm proud to say that we are going to address it by freezing the rent for millions of rent-stabilized tenants, by making the slowest buses in the country fast and free, and by delivering universal childcare to each and every New York family.
Yeah, the reason why I keep muting this stuff, wow, he's got a big applause. The reason why I keep muting this stuff is because none of them are talking about how they want to visit Tel Aviv instantly after this debate is over. And I feel like this level of unprecedented anti-Semitism cannot go on in the New York City mayoral debate. It's like kind of fucked up.
Disastrous order, sending people with COVID into nursing homes. Then, as you admitted this week, you personally altered the state health department report to undercount the death total, to hide the death total, and then evaded and lied to these families for 5 years. So tonight, will you finally apologize to Peter and other grieving New Yorkers, or will you just keep gaslighting them with blather about what a great job you claim you did?
Maybe where you come from in St. Louis, facts don't matter, but here they do. So let's talk about that.
Where you
first
come
of all,
from.
On nursing homes, 1.2 million people died of COVID in the United States. It's horrendous. 83,000 people died in New York State. It is horrendous. It was a pandemic unlike anything we have ever seen. When it comes to nursing homes, we now know the facts because numerous studies have been done. New York State implemented...
I'm not going to lie. I think they have to visit Tel Aviv even more now that Israel is preemptively defending itself in an act of combating anti-Semitism, which is when there's just another nation existing in the region and is trying to do a separate denuclearization agreement with America. So if these guys don't leave the debate saying, Am Israel Chai, I'm going to, translated, I'm going to Tel Aviv to defend Tel Aviv with my body, with my life, that's the maximum anti-Semitism.
And does not give enough credit to the women and men in those nursing homes who worked so hard. Mr. Arbini lost a father. I am very, very sorry for that. He brought a legal case against the state. The legal case was dismissed. When you look at the papers on the case, there was no COVID positive person sent from a hospital to the nursing home while Mr. Arbini was in the nursing home. So it is factually impossible, Brad, that he got COVID from someone coming from a hospital.
Okay. Mr. Mamdani.
You know, I want to address something first, which is that...
You're going to ask a question or not?
I'm going to ask a question, but Brad Lander is more of a New Yorker than Andrew Cuomo is, and to hear all of this... To hear all this about St. Louis, we have to just make this clear. Now, all of us on this stage...
Wait, who are you going to ask your question to?
I'm asking it to Andrew Cuomo.
Okay.
I feel like most people would have known I'm going to ask Andrew Cuomo the question.
I knew.
He's charismatic. Zoran is very charismatic.
We agree.
All of us on this stage have spoken about how Donald Trump is an existential threat to democracy, to this city, to this country. And Andrew Cuomo, you have received millions of dollars in funding from the very
Nir Dvory of Channel 12. The operation is coordinated with the U.S.
Will you now look at the camera and tell your super PAC
hold on, I want to see this.
to return those millions of dollars, and to your own campaign to return that close to $500,000 to ensure that this is not a race that is bought by those same Trump billionaires?
I know you don't understand the law, but it would be illegal for me to direct an independent expenditure committee.
Is it illegal for you to direct your own campaign?
One question, one answer.
That's the law, okay? Number two, I dealt with Mr. Trump as governor. We had very, very difficult times. I got more help for New York from Trump than anyone expected. New York was one of the few places that he did not send
Israel
troops.
launched preemptive strikes against Iran
because he didn't want to deal with me. That's the fact. I got him to send us masks.
So are you going to return the $500,000 to your own campaign?
And then on your point about, billionaires, let's remember this. I am the candidate on the stage who is supported by more labor unions than any other candidate. 650,000 working men and women support me.
Then why is it that J.D. Vance went to more picket lines than you did?
Let me finish. because they know me and they know my record. The firefighters worked with me in storms. The utility workers endorsed me because I was in Puerto Rico putting the power back together after the storms. Every major union that has endorsed has endorsed me greater than any candidate on the stage.
You get the final question, Mr. Cuomo.
Yeah.
You get the final question to anyone on the stage. Yes.
My question is to Mr. Tilson. We learned today that, shockingly, Mr. Mamdani is not part of the DSA, but we've heard his plans over and over and over. You're a financial man. You're not a politician, Mr. Tilson. Probably smarter than the rest of us in that regard. But you've heard his plans for how to build housing, how he's going to finance the housing, free buses.
This is her shitting on the unions, by the way.
And he said he can do all of this, and our taxes will not be any higher than New Jersey's taxes.
Question.
You're a financial expert.
By the way, this is the reason why he's on that stage, so they can double team Zoran. No, dude.
Is telling the truth.
I would say no. The biggest piece of his, he says he will raise the revenue to pay for all the things that I can't even keep track of, all the spending promises he's making, by raising the corporate tax rate to New Jersey's level. What he is failing to acknowledge is that there are already many other city and state taxes that, in fact, if his plan were implemented, would result in New York City businesses paying double the tax rate of New Jersey, triple that of Connecticut, 5 times that of Florida, which would lead to an exodus of businesses and jobs and crush our city. But even more preposterous is that this all has to go through Albany. There is no appetite for what he is calling for.
This is a double team. This is the reason why he's literally on that stage, so that Andrew Cuomo could attack Zoran without directing the question to Zoran. So they're doubling down and double teaming him.
That's truly delusional. So I want to double taxes in New York City. I want to double spending in New York City, but I want to do it the way Mike Bloomberg did it, by doubling the size of the economy, which he did over 12 years. It's economic growth that we need, not destructive policies that would crush growth.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, candidates. We're going to move on to a new topic.
It's a way to attack Zoran without Zoran being able to respond. That is literally his primary purpose. He's running just to f Zoran over.
Unofficial but important task of every New York City mayor has been to bring New Yorkers together, even on issues of passionate concern where finding common ground is difficult. So let's talk for a few minutes about what kind of job you would do in this area. Mr. Mamdani, what is your message to Jewish New Yorkers who are supportive of Israel and fear for their safety in this current political climate?
That I hear them, and that I have heard them over the course of this campaign and before that. After the days of the horrific war crime of October 7th, a friend of mine told me about how he felt sitting in his synagogue for Shabbat services when he heard the door open and a chill went up his spine as he turned around, not knowing who would be there. And I heard that even just recently from a Jewish man in Williamsburg who told me how he locks the very door that used to be unlocked for so many years out of a concern for his safety. I will protect Jewish New Yorkers and deliver them that safety. I will do so as the next mayor of the city. And ultimately, what I will also say is to New Yorkers who have a disagreement with me on any issue, but also on the question of the Israeli government's policies, that disagreement, I know, is rooted in a shared sense of humanity. And in the words of Ed Koch, if you agree with me on 9 out of 12 issues, vote for me. 12 out of 12, see a psychiatrist.
And just as a follow-up, Mr. Mamdani, when it comes to the boycott and divestment movement,
I gotta see a psychiatrist.
Israel, which you have supported even before this campaign, what would you say to people who feel that that is an existential threat and that despite your position of wanting to keep people safe, they feel like you actually either have a different agenda or are in league with people who have an agenda that makes them feel fundamentally unsafe?
I've been very clear, and I will continue to be so, which is that at the core of my politics is a belief in nonviolence, and that my support for compliance with international law is support for nonviolent movements that seek to do so and build on the example that we saw with South Africa. And ultimately, what my focus will be, however, is not on what is happening outside of this city. It is going to be on making sure this is a city that is affordable for each and every New Yorker. What is currently the most expensive city in the country finally be one that the working class New Yorkers who built it can afford to live in, and to ensure that each and every New Yorker feels represented by me as their mayor. Because you can win an election with a majority, but it is your job to represent every single person across this city.
Okay. Mr. Cuomo, according to Muslim American organizations, you never made a public visit to a mosque during your 10+ years as governor. Why the reluctance?
Yeah, I believe I have. I would have to check the record. But let me correct the record here, if I might. Mr. Mamdani is dangerously divisive.
Let me ask you about this because this was an issue in the 2018 campaign when you were running for re-election, when they said that in 7 years you had never visited a mosque. Did something happen in the several years beyond that?
I believe I have. I know I've participated in many forums with imams. I am not, off the top of my head, I can't tell you where I went, but I'll check the record and I will.
So let me just get to the point then. I mean, what would you say to more than 760,000 Muslims here in the city about whether or not you would reach out to them, make them feel welcome, make them feel protected at a time when...
I would say we are a city of immigrants. I welcome them. I love them. I'm not Mr. Mamdani. I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm not divisive. I didn't say I would boycott Israel. I didn't say I would divest from Israel. I didn't say I would sanction Israel. I don't give forums to anti-Semites.
What does this have to do with?
I don't give forums to extremists who blame America for 9/11. I didn't say that I would boycott Cornell Technion because they're pro-Israel. He is the flip side of the coin of Trump. Trump says he'll boycott Cornell because they're anti-Israel.
Was he talking about me?
He says, I'll boycott Cornell because they're pro-Israel. Division is our death in this city, this state, and this nation. And division is what Trump sells. We should be selling unity, not the division that this man is spreading.
Mr. Mamdani.
By the way, question about Islamophobia.
Ridiculous to hear Mr. Cuomo talk about himself as a man of unity when just yesterday we found out that his super PAC was sending mail that artificially darkened and lengthened my beard to stoke the very fears of that division in this city. The reason he doesn't have a message for Muslim New Yorkers is because he has nothing to say to us, because he doesn't see us as if we are every other New Yorker. And ultimately, the campaign that I am running is a campaign that seeks to go beyond the politics of the Trump era, where candidates on the stage describe me as a monster, describe me at the gates, where they say that I am, in fact, the other. This is a campaign to bring people together. It's why we have the support of Jewish and Muslim New Yorkers. It's why we have the support of people across the 5 boroughs.
Real quick. Yeah. You don't bring New Yorkers together by saying President Obama is evil and President Obama is a liar. You don't bring them together by saying Hakeem Jeffries is like George Wallace and the DAS sending ads to Hakeem Jeffries with watermelons. Koch didn't say what you said he said. He said, anyone who threatens Israel, I would never support.
Okay.
That's what Koch says, and that's you.
We're going to bring in the other candidates. I want you to tell me, and we'll do this 60 seconds and keep it a real 60 seconds. What would you do as far as bringing people together around this particular issue, which has brought people into the streets and caused so much controversy in New York?
Errol, all New Yorkers deserve to feel safe, no matter who they are. As City Council Speaker, I have allocated millions of dollars to combat anti-Semitism. As mayor, I will fully fund to protect all New Yorkers, something that our current mayor has not done. We're going to fully fund the Commission on Human Rights to make sure that we are taking
this
care
looks like a targeted
of
assassination
all of the
attempt.
citizens of the city of New York. Right now, that commission is significantly understaffed. 20% of their headcount is lacking. And as mayor, I'm going to make sure that that head count is appropriate and that we are truly looking forward to unifying this city. Anti-Semitism has grown and it is at its peak in New York City. That is unacceptable. It should be unacceptable to everyone on this stage. And it is something that as mayor, we are going to unify this city once and for all and treating.
Ugh, this topic is so annoying. Trump is convening a cabinet-level meeting as Israel launched what he called preemptive strikes against Iran. A White House official and two sources familiar with plans told me and Kylie Atwood the meeting was planned before the strike, the sources said. The meeting was expected to focus on U.S. response to developing events in Iran. Trump was seen leaving the congressional picnic at the White House shortly after 8 p.m. The White House declined to comment. Times of Israel corresponded with the IDF talking points. The IDF confirms it has launched an aerial campaign against Iran's nuclear program. Dozens of targets across Iran related to the nuclear program and other military facilities are being struck by the Israeli Air Force. It says the operation is dubbed Strength of a Lion. The IDF says Iran has enough enriched uranium to build several bombs within days. Within days. Oh my God. Since like the 90s, Iran is 3 seconds to midnight from building a nuclear weapon. They have enriched uranium. They are literally 1 day out. Sirens that sounded across Israel a short while ago were a preemptive warning issued by the IDF ahead of a possible reaction by Iran. It's so crazy because it's like U.S. regularly castigates Iran as the key threat to Middle East stability for the third, fourth, fifth time since October 7. Many in Washington are counting on Iranian restraint to prevent spiraling bloodshed across the region. And there is, of course, serious reason to doubt Tehran. Key context in the moment. Netanyahu demonstrated lack of concern for Israeli civilian life. The U.S. under both Biden and Trump declining to use this huge leverage to force restraint from Tel Aviv. Make or break moment for a new nuclear deal Israel opposes is in less than a month. It's crazy, man. I saw this list. Look. 1992, Iran is 3 to 5 years from nuclear capability. Okay. 1993, Iran is pursuing nuclear close to capability. Iran 3 to 5 years from in 1995. 1996, Iran's nuclear acquisition could be catastrophic. Deadline extremely close. Iran's nuclear program, a global threat. Iran aggressively pursuing nuclear weapons. Since 1992, Israel has released, every single year, Israel has released another statement about Iran being 5 seconds away from having a nuke. Iran is days away. Iran days away from enriching uranium for a bomb. And of course, today, they struck Tehran, residential buildings. An apartment building in Tehran was torn in half as a result of Israeli missile strike. No word on the casualties yet. Okay? This is a direct attack at civilians. Elant News says, among the targets of the Israeli attacks in Iran are senior Iranian figures within the Iranian regime. They struck the capital. They struck Tehran in a densely populated civilian area. And clearly, I mean, they used some imprecise and some more precise weapons, targeting capabilities. Here is one of the examples of the more precise ones that like blows up an entire apartment, just the apartment itself. Still obviously very dangerous for everyone else involved as well. And the reality of the matter is, if Iran were to do the exact same thing, if Iran were to respond in kind, if Iran were to think about it, imagine Iran attacking Tel Aviv and blowing up an entire apartment in the middle of Tel Aviv and killing an Israeli official and their families. Like, imagine what that would look like. Imagine what kind of chaos would unfold in that process. And of course, as always, as is the case when the manufacturing consent machine has to kick into high gear, notice how Naftali Bennett is on. Immediately, we get like, whether Israel is attacked or whether Israel is doing the attacking, and in usual instances is Israel doing the attacking, we immediately go to an Israeli official for the contextualization of why this attack was a necessity and why this attack was actually at the behest of defending Israel.
The whole Middle East and the world would become hell if Iran gets nuclear weapons, and then it would cascade
he's right.
everyone, because Turkey would want nuclear weapons. Egypt would want. Everyone would want. And we'd have literally a nuclear heaven, nuclear hell in the Middle East.
But just to be clear, you do believe that Israel has the capability to destroy Iran's nuclear facilities that may be underground or otherwise hardened?
Look, I'm finished being prime minister about 3 years ago, so it's I can't tell you precisely. I certainly believe that we have the ability to destroy major parts of the nuclear program and to throw them back a lot in their race towards acquiring weapons.
Okay, going back to the debate, Zoran is talking about Gaza after he's being attacked, and I guess he had a really good statement because everyone's clapping.
Would be leading the largest public school system in the country with more than 900.
Okay, well, they moved on. I missed it. Sorry. Let's hear what they have to say.
The breadth and the scope of them from an Israeli military official.
We'll catch the clips later.
To put out some information. This was indeed a strike against Iran's nuclear program and other military targets. That military official called it
I know I can rewind. We'll look at it later. I want to see this.
Offensive in terms of the operation itself.
Chatters, shut the
A
up.
series of strikes, it seems, went after its nuclear program and the regime's long-range missile capabilities. Dozens, quote, dozens of targets in different areas across Iran. In terms of the reasoning behind why Israel carried these strikes out now, especially right before the U.S. and Iran were set to hold their 6th round of negotiations when it comes to trying to reach a nuclear deal, Israel believed that Iran had significantly advanced towards obtaining a nuclear weapon. According to Israel's intelligence, the military official says that Iran has been advancing its secret operation to accelerate obtaining a nuclear weapon, and that Iran, and we just heard this from former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, essentially a very similar line. Israel believes Iran has enough fusion material to create 15 nuclear bombs within days. The Israeli military official said, quote, "We are nearing the point of no return," and that thousands of missiles have been created. This is ballistic missiles, which are an existential threat to Israel. So there you have it. And you might be able to hear that from my phone. That's the emergency alert going off, indicating that there is an alert coming in from Home Front Command. We'll take a look at that and let you know what it means in a second. But an Israeli military official acknowledging that this set of strikes, what the defense minister described as a preemptive strike, was indeed targeting Iran's nuclear facilities and its ballistic missile capabilities. In terms of what Brett McGurk has said, this was on the far more escalatory side of the targets, the options Israel had at its disposal. And that means that the region has just taken a big step towards a much broader regional war that's been a concern here for such a long time. Now, of course, we wait to see how Iran retaliates for this, and we'll wait, of course, to see as the sun rises there in the next couple of hours, the damage from those strikes and how broad they were and their results.
And Orna, I just want to make sure we have the wording right on that. Direct strikes on nuclear facilities and what?
Iran's nuclear program and other military targets were the target of these strikes. Quote, dozens of targets in different areas across Iran.
Okay. Oren, continue to gather information. I'm here with Jim Sciutto. We're also going to bring in
one of the targets, Performance versus nuclear scientists.
Jim, what do you make of what is happening?
Well, it's significant that they are striking not just missile sites as they did.
They love killing nuclear scientists. Israel's favorite thing to do is kill Iranian academics. After killing children, that's Israel's second favorite thing to do. Okay, is to assassinate Iranian nuclear scientists. Breaking, Israel has detected missile launches from Iran. There's chatters in Tehran and Iran saying that they're hearing that there is potentially some retaliatory strikes coming. War with Iran, the defense establishment detects launches towards Israel. They love doing, what is it called, a scholasticide as well. Explosions reported in Natanz and Fordo, Iran's major nuclear. Wait, really? So they're targeting nuclear facilities and nuclear scientists and potentially like military command. But in any case, is this very different from previous missile exchanges between the two? I mean, it's larger. Israel has never directly struck Iran with this level of intensity since this last skirmish, since like post October 7. They have struck Iran before, but this is the largest premeditated escalation coming from Israel beyond like striking an Iranian embassy compound in Syria. Senior Israeli official, high probability that Iran's chief of staff was eliminated. Israel has also canceled school and all non-essential activity, knowing full well that they were going to hit Iran and then Iran was going to retaliate. And now more American tax dollars struck Iran. American munitions struck Iran. Now more American tax dollars and American defensive capabilities will defend Israel because Iran will understandably retaliate. So that's where we're at. Secretary Rubio is too busy gargling Benjamin Netanyahu and the entire Israeli war cabinet's dick, saying, tonight Israel took unilateral action against Iran. We are not involved in strikes against Iran, and our top priority is protecting American forces in the region. Israel advised us that they believe this action was necessary for its self-defense. President Trump and the administration have taken all necessary steps to protect our forces and remain in close contact with our regional partners. Let me be clear, Iran should not target U.S. interests or personnel. Bullshit. Israel does not do anything without America's go-ahead. Israel does not do anything. I cannot stress this enough. Israel is America's weapon to wield in the region. Make no mistake. This is peaceful Dawn, okay? This is peaceful Donnie saying, go ahead, strike Iran. Maybe it'll give us a better position in the nuclear agreement, okay? It is bullshit. America offers additional targeting capabilities that Israel might not have. America already gives the weapons. America already gives the munitions. And America's defensive shield against Iranian retaliation is what gives Israel the confidence to behave this way and put the lives of their entire population in danger. Okay? So for all the Israeli chatters in here right now, remember that. I'm sure you're already aware of it, but remember that. Tell your parents, tell your neighbors, it is Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government's own personal ambition and America's go-ahead and America's targeting that has allowed this to happen. So whatever kind of retaliation that comes from Iran as an act of understandable self-defense, it will literally happen because America and the Israeli government does not give a about anyone. Clearly, America cares more about its own soldiers, at least, and its own like embassy staffers and shit, because they knew this was going to happen. Clearly, they've been planning this. This kind of military action doesn't happen overnight. It obviously is planned ahead of time. That's precisely the reason why, suspiciously, America was moving its embassy personnel away from Kuwait, Bahrain, and also moving its troop positions away. Israel is doing this. Israel is doing this with America's go-ahead, with America's knowledge. Make no mistake. Don't let anybody tell you like, oh, Israel controls America. That's not the truth. Israel's not behaving as a separate entity here. Operation expected, according to Manny Fabian, the Israeli military expects this operation against Iran's nuclear program and long-range missile capabilities to last for several days. The IDF is preparing for heavy fire from Iran in response to its airstrikes tonight. At the end of the operation, there will be no nuclear threat. We are in the window of strategic opportunities. We have to reach the point of no return, and there is no choice but to act now, IDF officials say. It's suicidal. It's just suicide. Israel is a suicidal, genocidal, fascist country. Fascism is a death cult. Israel will literally bring everyone down with it. Either it will complete its genocide in the region, directed by the American government, or it will bring everyone down with it. Truly a cancerous government. CNN also confirming, Oren Lieberman reports that the sources say this is not going to be a one-day attack as suspected the last several days. First statement from the Trump admin emphasized the lack of U.S. involvement. America's such pussy cowards, by the way. The American government are such cowardly little dogs, for the record. They are so weak. They're so weak. They're such pieces of shit, okay? First, they attack some of the most vulnerable internally, some of the most vulnerable citizens in this country, some of the most vulnerable people living on U.S. soil, undocumented migrants. They try to sick the goddamn military on people who understandably don't want their neighbors to be black bagged and kidnapped, taken away from their families, away from their places of business. Then they turn around and do this pussy ass bullshit like, oh, we're not involved. What do you mean we're not involved? Of course we're involved. There is no world where Israel operates like this, because guess what? If you didn't like what Israel was doing, you would tell them to stop, okay? You would come out. You wouldn't even have to come out. You would just make one phone call and be like, what are you talking about? You're going to strike Iran. Get the out of here. So if you are Iran in the situation, and you have seen, as every other regional actor has seen, that Israel only responds to violent retaliation that actually causes them to second guess how restrained they must be and how little they must do in retaliation, you have to retaliate. Like, from their perspective, they leave no choice but violent retaliation. Very rare L take. Why is this a very rare L take? Can you explain why the U.S. is so insistent on claiming not to be involved? Feels like unnecessary PR when you make the point that the U.S. is, of course, involved. The reason why they're saying that is because I think they don't want Iran to attack American bases and, like, I don't know, hurt America's logistical capabilities in the region. Or if Iran does attack American bases, then America can say, see, they attacked us without us attacking them, okay? And then if Iran does actually end up attacking American bases, they go, oh, well, we have no choice but to join the war. Yes, strikes between two major powers. Let's pause for a Twitch chatter's perspective. What is happening? I do that regardless. They want the attack, but they know the voting populace doesn't want here at home. It's performative for both defense and electoral reasons. Yeah, that's the other side of it as well, because I believe there is it is one of the least favorable positions that any party could engage in. Americans widely, at least until this, what is it? The military task force, the Middle Eastern task force kicks into high gear and starts manufacturing consent. The American position is, the American appetite for going to war with Iran is unimaginably low. Unimaginably low, for understandable reasons. Why the f would anybody want to go and die for Israel's genocidal campaign? Are you out of your mind? Would you be down for that? Do you think that's good? Of course not. Yeah, Israeli military official says Israel striking dozens of sites across Iran in an operation called Rising Lion. Israeli military official told Reuters the operation could take a long time and is also targeting Iranian commanders. They're trying to kill Iranian nuclear, they're trying to kill nuclear scientists. They're trying to kill military commanders, and they're trying to pummel the underground nuclear facilities that are deep underground. And as far as we know, Israel does not have the capability of striking. They've destroyed one residential apartment complex, and they've also done a more precise, targeted strike on another residential apartment. Like, you know those bombs that they use, like the super precise ones that only take out the entire apartment, but not like the whole building, just one floor? They did one of those. Yeah, I mean, the timing is perfect, yes. It's also not exactly a mystery for Israel to do this right on the heels of Netanyahu's government barely squeaking by a vote to disband the Knesset, and the opposition was planning to try again, being 2 votes away. And the reason for that disbanding that's taking place is because secular forces in Israel want the Haredi population, which is numerous, just large in size, and also the largest growing faction in the country, to serve in the military, to serve in the Israeli occupying force, especially at a time when there is a tremendous amount of reservists that are refusing to fucking go back and do another tour of ethnic cleansing. And it's not even on humanitarian grounds. There are, however, some Israeli soldiers that say, I don't want to do, I've had my fill of genocide. You know, there's only so much children I can murder. Having said that, however, plenty of people are just up. They're wounded, they're up. They just literally don't want to get smoked by an 18-year-old wearing Adidas, okay? So they don't want to go back in to Gaza. So, given that there is a little bit of a crisis in the number of reservists that they can deploy into Gaza to continue killing children, they have to deploy the Haredi population and then try to quickly train them and bring them into the Israeli occupying force. The Haredi population is the Orthodox population. For those of you who don't know, they usually get a religious exemption by the secular forces within Israeli society. The Haredi population are seen as lazy, uneducated, welfare queens that don't actually give anything to Israel. Remember, we look at the Israeli occupying force, understandably, as a exterminationist force, but within Israeli society, most Israeli liberals and everyone else involved considers the IDF to be a force of good and a secular force in general, like a liberal force, a force actually for defense. You are wrong about Israel not having capabilities to hit UGBs. Israel has reportedly been able to modify F-15s to carry the GB-57 MOP, which Trump approved for transfer to Israel. These can hit the sites given some tight modifications. Hassan Reaction is one of the best ones in the React channel.
Or you
Workers'
blame,
Party.
or you blame.
I forgot about that. Famous communist. Dude, World War II was leftist infighting. Okay, so I wanted to show you this.
Oh, I thought you already watched this.
No, I didn't. So Chatters came in here and were like, dude, have you addressed the video that came out on you? And I was like, what? Of like Charlie Kirk obliterating you. And I was like, what the are you talking about, bro? I haven't talked to Charlie Kirk since like 2018. And it turns out a couple conservatives, including the based conservative.
Oh, the based one.
Made Hassan Big Piker made this video. And I thought it was this video that they were talking about. I was like, oh, people are still doing like Hassan videos, which used to pop, but they don't anymore. But I guess they still pop in conservative circles, right? And then I found this millionaire mentor. Fight erupts as Charlie Kirk obliterates Hassan Piker in epic debate. And this video has 921,000 views since we've last played. Since I mentioned on stream.
All your fans are watching
in 2 days.
Fuck my channel.
And I know, dude. That's what I thought too. Dude, that's what I thought too. You need to start making like Hassan Sucks videos, and I need to start making them too.
I've got all this like rare access to your like darkest moments.
I know.
I could film you sleeping.
Yeah, I saw you at Denny's alone the other day, and you took a mat in the restroom. Yeah, totally. Anyway, so
are other videos?
Of course, no, dude. Okay, so millionaire mentor. You're like, what? That's
he
insane.
Teaches us how to do.
He's doing like that's classic millionaire mentor stuff, though. I looked at his other videos. In his other videos, his other videos get 2,000 views, 3,000 views. These other videos, 3,000 views. Woke student gets humiliated as Dinesh D'Souza destroys his argument. Piers Morgan goes off on woke activist, 44,000 views.
This is insane.
Woke culture shattered by Jordan Peterson, 11,000 views, 17,000 views. He has 300,000 subscribers.
Wait, what? He owes you money.
And then we looked at his like, we looked at his
video.
Social Blade, and last year, in the month of August last year, he had minus 58 million video views, which means he like privated.
Oh, they took him off.
He probably took off a bunch of videos.
Oh, that's so lame.
Yeah. So like last year alone, my man last year alone lost more than like a total of 60 million views.
What's nuts is that he can still do it. Like, surely if 1 year you lose 57 million views because of bots, surely you'd be like, okay, this guy can't upload anymore. Like, it's insane.
It could be a bot account, or it could be a botted account.
See, I've had it on my channel where they're like, oh, there have been some, suspicious views on your channel. We're going to alter the views for that. And they get rid of like 200 views or something. Like it's not, 57 million is pretty hectic. This guy's paid a lot of money for that.
Yeah, apparently this video was like posted on the Turning Point USA Yeah, likes are still at 23K.
You've never seen an intellectual beating like.
By the way, likes were at 23K. Video went up by 100,000 views. Likes still at 23K. But, you know, that's besides the point. Anyway, so let's take a look at
Are you
this
sure
video.
you're ready? Might not be nice to watch yourself being obliterated.
Dude,
I would not want to watch myself being obliterated.
I know. It's going to be really sad. Well, luckily I was there, so I know what actually happened.
What's the occasion? What gets you and Charlie Kirk together?
Politicon. Back when that used to be a thing. So it was a convention. It was a political convention where they would just like bring, you know, leftists, Democrats, right wingers, Nazis together and have them duke it out. I debated Charlie Kirk in 2018. The video, I mean, I've done videos on it. You know, I've done analysis on it. I actually had former friend of the show, Destiny, back when I was just starting off on Twitch, do analysis on it and stuff like that. Bro, that isn't even him in the video. He hired someone to dunk on you. Jason Stone, are you ready for the next level? He's a serial entrepreneur with multiple seven-figure. Wait, this guy's like at least camera ready. Why did he hire like a incredibly unattractive
Wait, that's
person?
actually him?
Wait, if this is him, why? What is going on right now?
Maybe conservatives need people who look like them in order to spruik the
I mean,
message.
he could be a conservative looking person. Anyway, I think that guy might have just bought the account and is like rebranding it potentially.
It's so rough. I just feel like you can't do bots on YouTube. Like they want internal views. It's just a weird thing to do. So
This is
just
a bought YouTube account from India. Wait, what? So this guy bought it, but then hired this guy to do the video? I don't know. Anyway, let's continue.
This, Hassan Piker stood no chance against my boy Charlie Kirk in this debate on capitalism and the free market when Hassan was exposed as walking and talking contradiction against his own positions on the
You were
subject.
technically sitting,
But that's not all, because you need to stick around.
Wait, is he gonna say that I was like I'm rich and that's why I can't be socialist? Because like back then I was broke, which is like the pivotal moment that he's gonna show in this debate is when Charlie Kirk is like talking about how much money I make. And I tell him I make $60,000 a year. Like, what?
Well, then you're angry at him because you're jealous.
Yeah, exactly. Then you switch it. They're like, oh, you're just jealous of rich people. Exactly.
Around to see the debate nearly turn into a wrestling match as the Young Turks' Cenk Uygur starts screaming from the audience for no reason at all. Just subscribe to the channel for more discussions like this, and let's jump into it.
By the way, this is precisely why I say like it's so much easier to be a wing grifter. Like this guy looks like shit, sounds like shit, is resurfacing a debate from like 8 years ago, not 8 years ago, but whatever. And is like, yeah, that's right. He got found instant 1 million views in 2 days.
It's amazing.
I'm not gonna lie.
to be fair, he's
Both
in
of us are jealous of the numbers, by the way. Let's make no mistake. I am, dude.
I got to write obliterating in my title a bit more.
Dude, no, YouTube just like pumps right wing shit so hard. I swear to God.
I mean,
I found him. I think he's just a host they hire.
Wait, they hired him and put him in this apartment so he looks like a millionaire.
He doesn't look like this anymore either, by the way. But anyway, let's see what my boy's doing here.
Currently, the economic system that we're living under is inherently exploitative, it's inherently oppressive, and we're now actually feeling the devastating impact of that more than ever. We live in a country.
Wait, how is 60K broke? How is 60K broke? There's always some like dumb mother in the chat. How is $60,000 broke? I live in America, in Los Angeles, California, bro. What are you talking about?
Things are very expensive here.
What are you talking about, brother? Like, it is, like, there's always a guy who's like, oh, dude, $60,000? You were living a life of luxury. I'm actually signing off from a potato right now. I'm homeless in Uganda. Like, okay, man, thanks.
Socialism is famously a race to the bottom.
Yeah,
It's just,
yeah. That also is the other side of the equation that we don't even ever to discuss. But also, $60,000 now is pretty much broke everywhere in the United States of America. $60,000 back in back in 2018 wasn't great for California, but like might have been pretty solid for like Oklahoma or whatever.
What's the median in America? Because this is like the median wage in Australia, $60K US.
Right now, I don't know. Let's see. times have changed. Median wage in the U.S. is 45. Why'd you say $45,000?
I don't understand. Well, maybe the different cities in America are cheaper, but I could like.
Wait, $60K USD is the median wage in Australia?
Pretty
no
high.
shot. What?
It was 45 just like 5 years ago.
Oh my God.
65. Is that Australian or is it 98? Yeah. 98 is me. 98's high.
98,000 per year, and the median salary around 65,000.
The average is median 65. Wait, that's not American?
No, that's got to be Australian dollar it is, right?
Yeah. Because like a teacher's starting salary is like 55,000 Australian.
Let's
Country where there are 40 million Americans. We live in the wealthiest nation that has ever existed, the wealthiest nation on the planet, and we have 40 million Americans living in poverty. We have 18.5 million Americans living in extreme poverty, according to the latest UN reports. Climate change is happening no matter how hard people try to deny its existence, and its outcomes are devastating, especially for millennials, and this is something that we need to focus on. And unfortunately, every single time we tried to bring about any sort of socialized solutions to these problems that the free market obviously fails to provide solutions for, we get called socialist, and that idea is inherently damaging. We live under an inherently oppressive capitalist dogma, and I'm here to talk about that because I think that at least questioning that and striving to find a better system is exactly what young people should be doing right now.
Right. So inherently oppressive. So small business owners are oppressing their employees.
Come on, you're hyper-focusing on small business, dog. I'm talking about capitalism versus socialism.
Even though 85% of all jobs in this country are created by small businesses, even though under this president, poverty rates have gone to the lowest level in the last 65 years.
Do you want to ask questions? Wait, hold on.
Let me finish. I let you finish, right?
Okay, go ahead.
Let me finish. 3.9 million Americans have gone off food stamps and into the labor force under this president. That should be applauded by everybody. When less people have to...
They cut... That's my favorite one. Yeah, when they cut food stamps and they force people into even worse conditions, and they're like, "What a dub! What a whopping dub that was!"
They'd be like,
when we killed poor people.
We created lots of jobs. These people are doing 3 jobs now.
Yeah. People used to do 1 job back in the day. That was some. Now they're doing 3. Oh, it's awesome.
To go to government for money and for meaning, and they instead are able to go to a job and have a paycheck. That's a good thing. And so the final thing I'll say is this, and you'll find disagreement. Just because someone gets rich does not mean someone gets poor. In order for you to get rich in a free market system, you must have a good idea. You must create value. You must employ people. You probably borrowed money. And you have an 80% chance of that business not succeeding. In a free market, yes, we applaud success, but you must take...
Why is Hassan objectively hotter then, but I'd much rather have him now?
Hey.
I don't think I look that different there than I do now.
Responsibility for failure, and you have seen the last 100 years.
I'm just wearing a suit.
The standard of living increased for all people across the world. Things get better, prices go down, and we are able to enjoy the abundance that only a free market system can create. You know what? I don't have to call you guys socialist. Bernie Sanders
He's got it
calls
mounted like
himself a
10
socialist,
meters
and
in
we
the
should
air.
reject socialism.
Conjecture versus hard statistics, that's the bird's eye view of this debate, but I want to pick at something that Hassan Piker just remarked about capitalism as supposedly inherently exploitative.
Okay, let's hear.
6 years later, he's got the comeback.
Yeah, it took him. I can't wait. I suspect that he's going to talk about the extraction of surplus labor value is good. Actually, you idiot. Poor people don't know what to do with all that money. All that money that they're generating for their bosses, it's much better served in the hands of their bosses. Duh.
Easy.
How can Hassan make that explicitly Marxist talking point and yet not claim to be a Marxist? The entire edifice of Marxist thinking lies in
Dog, that was literally 6 years ago. I think we're way past that point. People call me a terrorist now, okay? We've moved beyond like, oh, Hassan, is he Marxist? Is he not a Marxist? No, they're like, Hassan is a Marxist, Islamist, fundamentalist, Al-Qaeda supporting terrorist now. That's like...
Hamas Piker.
Yeah, Hamas Piker is what they call me nowadays. This guy's still talking. This guy's arguing against me from 6 years ago. Oh, back when things were so much better. Then I could...
They were better for him as well. He was not 6 years ago.
Oh, damn. That's rough.
It happens to us all.
Things were so much better. That is like the one big L. I should have never... I should have never said what I believe in, and I should have just been like, "What are you talking about? I love capitalism, but also like, wouldn't it be great if workers had more control over their lives? You know, that sort of
Fine.
yeah.
Everything's literally fine for everyone.
No, I don't mean it like that. I just mean like advocate for the same things I advocate for without saying I'm a socialist. I think that I would have a better way of being able to reach a broader audience and convince them.
Well, it's just such a dirty word here.
Yeah, I know. It's so up.
During the profit motive as an exploitation of the working class and as a means to extract their labor with minimum possible compensation. But the problem is...
Wait. Okay, Marx is
the
talking...
entire edifice of Marx's thinking lies in construing the profit motive as an exploitation of the working class and as...
It's not construing the profit motive, it's just descriptive. Like, it's not... You're describing what profit is. What do you mean?
As a means to extract their labor with minimum possible compensation. But the problem is...
that no boss is like, I would love to pay you above market rate. The concept of market rate is literally determined on that exact principle. What are you talking about?
No, you make profit by coming up with good ideas, like starting a channel and paying for bots. That's a really good idea. Make lots of money.
Millionaire mindset, baby. No, but like actually,
like
so
selling tacos.
That's the
like, the B-roll's really good as well.
Yeah. No,
the person handing that taco is making like $2.
Yeah. Or they're their own boss, baby.
Yeah, true.
It's
Okay.
construing the entire system of the free market as exploitative when it is the same system that has accomplished more to uplift people from poverty.
Okay, he just moved past the exploitation. He literally he didn't even like try to tackle surplus labor value. He just said like, oh yeah, it's exploitative to pay people the least amount that you can pay them. So stupid. Think about how awesome capitalism is at uplifting people from poverty, which like there's two different schools of thought on this. Either you look at the change of what was considered to be extreme poverty to what it is now as a reason as to why so many people have been quote unquote uplifted from extreme poverty, or you look at China. Which, if I were to ask this person, I suspect he wouldn't say China is like a state capitalist enterprise or something. I think he would.
I think they're pretty versatile. These guys. I feel like China's capitalist when it's bringing people out of poverty.
Okay. Yeah. How does that? Oh, so slave work is up. Oh, so you think the pyramids suck? Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Oh, someone doesn't like cotton clothes. Weird. Anyway,
slavery has done more to clothe people than any other system.
Yeah, exactly. How dare you? How dare you talk about that with such unseeming terms, such mean terms? Isn't Walmart the most socialist corporation in America? No. Okay. Overall, yes. The reason why billions have been lifted out of extreme poverty is China. Is Chinese development. Take China out of the equation, the situation is not great.
We're going backwards.
Yeah, we're not going forward. We're going backwards. You're delusional, but maybe he loves the CCP.
Probably.
Maybe he's maybe he's going to say that now. Let's see.
Across the world in any centralized system of government or socialist economy could even fathom. Since the turn of the last century, humanity has dropped the share of people in extreme poverty from 6% to less
Oh, yeah, he's doing the extreme poverty.
We changed the metric for...
Oh, yeah. Okay, not only is the metric changed, okay, but also beyond that, it's still China. He's a dengist. Yeah, no, I was wrong. My bad, bro. He's questioning He's questioning my leftist bona fides. He's like, oh, excuse me, sir.
10%. There's no single person or government that can claim credit for that, but a simple idea at the heart of it.
No, there is one. It's China. There's one. Like literally. That's not even. By the way, the funniest part about that is that like it's not like economists even call into question that reality. Like economists will openly be like, no, it's China. So it's like there's not a book that agrees with you on this front. You can just like leave that data as it is, and that's one thing, right? You can leave that data as it is, and that's fine, okay, to make an argument. But if you like, I don't know, scratch the surface of that data a little bit, you will recognize that it is literally China, which is ironic because he talked about centralization.
Yeah,
like,
he didn't even talk about socialism.
Thing.
He's talking about centralized governments.
Yeah, centralized government is a bad thing. Okay, I don't know which government is not really all that centralized ultimately, especially not the United States of America. But like, China is definitely. Once again, the argument that you're making is China, and they are due to arguably their centralization. But let's continue.
People have the right to private property and the freedom to engage in trade and cooperation to enrich everyone in the process. And yet there's no shortage of people in the United States and across the world.
I love these like theoretical arguments. Like, dude, it's lifting people out of poverty, not China. Also, everyone's getting wealthy along the way.
True.
Yeah, that's why there's like people taking on the sidewalk in the United States of America.
They do that. That's their choice.
Yeah, because it's a moral failure. Right.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Works if it wasn't for all these degenerate people who don't know how to make good decisions.
Who aren't watching Millionaire Mentor.
Exactly. If you're mentored by the right people,
yeah, that's
be
so
homeless.
true. Yeah, I mean, here is the socialist. Here's the socialist. This is a Trotskyist paper. The BBC is China lifted 100 million people out of poverty. China's poverty figures. Poverty is defined by China as everyone in rural areas earning less than 2/3. Oh, wait, what is this? Wait, what? This graph, this World Bank graph shows that extreme poverty fell in China by a lot.
Like 800 million people.
That's so. Wait. Is the World Bank like? Is that a Marxist institution?
Yeah. No, they're globalists, which is the same
Jewish.
The same thing. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
But let this guy talk. I want to hear. I got so excited when he started talking, like he actually was addressing Marxist theory. I was like, oh wow, this is going to be.
He did for like a second, only to just completely sidestep and be like, capitalism is awesome. An idiot.
The world that are willing to sacrifice these two fundamental principles to the altar of some unattainable utopia. Watch Hassan Piker struggle to make sense of that even to himself.
You know what socialist is? Bernie Sanders wants an 80% tax rate on the rich.
Venezuela too, right? Dude, listen.
Bernie Sanders wants to keep our fossil fuel assets in the road.
You want me to explain it to you? Because you obviously don't understand it. Do you want me to explain it to you?
Is Cuba not socialist? Is North Korea not socialist?
Cuba is socialist and it's awesome. Suck my.
The most doctors per capita.
Vietnam not socialist? Was Zimbabwe not socialist? You can laugh all you want.
Okay, do you
but
want
100 million people died under socialism the last 100 years.
Oh wait, I wonder if he cuts off my argument because I actually dunk on him pretty hard here, where I talk about like global capitalism, the deaths under global capitalism under the similar principles would be akin to 14 million due to famine alone before we even factor in like. Other diseases.
Who was it? Arundhati Roy, who's someone like compiled like just India alone over the past 100 years, deaths from capitalism. It's just like mind blowing.
Yeah,
and you have the gumption to continue. Okay. You can keep laughing.
Hold on.
Yeah, 100 million people died under socialism, which includes the Black Book of Communism figures, which is so funny. Literally talk about all the Nazis that were killed. Okay, and also factors in the possible children they would have had. Are you insane? Oh man, I cannot believe all the Nazi children that could have been alive today if the communists didn't kill them in World War II.
It's also just it's also just a general economic development thing where like if you start industrializing, you move into cities, people do just have less children. That's just what happens. I mean, I think that's like a bad thing. That's what this guy's,
Yeah.
To the victims' families from Cuba, from Venezuela, from Korea, from Vietnam, from Mao's China, from Stalin's Russia.
Vietnam? Wait, dude, he was just dropping so many bombs in there. I didn't even. It took me 6 years to hear him say Vietnam. Who was more victimized in Vietnam? I wonder. Who was responsible for more deaths in Vietnam? Communism, which. Under the watchful gaze of Ho Chi Minh, gave the Vietnamese people liberation and autonomy and sovereignty, or the American Defense Department that dumped so much Agent Orange in Vietnam that children still have birth defects in the country to this day. Anyway,
Russia, the #1 killer of citizens from innocent civilians the last 100 years has been the very idea that you shamelessly wear on your sleeve every single day. Marxism has killed more people than any other ideology over the last 100 years.
Okay, thank you for those words.
You're welcome.
When 100 million people die under a communist dictatorship, and some of those millions are also Nazis, which is included there, whatever, you blame communism.
National Socialist Workers Party?
Or you blame...
I forgot about that.
Hitler's a communist
Oh,
too.
yeah, Hitler. Oh, yeah, Adolf Hitler, famous communist.
He was such a communist. He wanted to kill all the other communists to make him the best one.
Yeah. Dude, World War II was leftist infighting. Yeah, FDR, also communist. Think about it. Yeah. Wow, let him cook.
You blame socialism, but when 7 million people die every year under our current global capitalist environment, where just by famine alone, before we even talk about imperialism and before we even talk about the damaging wars that are happening all around the world, then it's the individual. So you're essentially telling every single person that's poor, it's your fault that you're poor, it's your fault that you die under a capitalist system, but if you were under a communist system...
I have never said that.
I mean, that's literally what you're saying.
No, it's not. I'm
so
saying
whose fault is it? Whose fault is it that 7 million people every year die just by famine-related diseases and famine under our current global capitalist structure?
Which, by the way, has a massive abundance of food production. Like when you know, we're killing all the birds, or when we're trying to maybe restructure under, you know, when you're trying to move an agrarian society to the industrial giant over the course of and engaging in collectivization efforts over the course of multiple decades, while also fighting a massive war against the industrial might of the Nazis. Obviously, there's gonna be some miscalculations along the way with, you know, crop rotations. Like that's I would say that in and of itself is, you know, still pretty bad, but nowhere near as horrific as like having an abundance of food, like a surplus of food.
It's just there.
That's just there, but because of the profit motive, like
it's funny, you know,
people have to die.
They focus on these guys coming in like Stalin and these famines, and it's just like, what about the famines like under the Tsarist Russian Empire? Like, that shit was brutal. Like, it's just like, no, that's irrelevant. You know, all the famines that were going on up until then don't count. It's the ones that when the communists came.
No, personally, I think it's unconscionable. It's unconscionable. It's unconscionable to have an abundance of food and have like the capacity to basically feed every single person on this planet, like every single person on this planet, and simply have a logistical problem and a lack of interest to do so due to the profit motive, that and allow at least 7 million people to die due to famine every year, then you know, fuck up on your efforts of you know, miscalculating on your efforts of how to manage an entire economy. You know, I think it's significantly worse.
Individual fault, is it?
Yeah. Why is it with the system when it comes to communism, but it's actually
go from 40 years to 80 years in America for women and 76 years for women.
You're not answering my question.
Global poverty is at its all-time low than it ever has been. It's dropped below 10%.
You're not answering my question. You're not answering. You're talking about something completely different.
There's not a singular person why individuals might die, unfortunately. However, what's going to stop that?
It's unfortunate when they die.
Well, yes, yes, Hassan. Death is unfortunate.
Yeah, I know.
I love what Charlie Kirk just did there. It's incredible.
Sick. Yeah, he's wearing I think those are the Kanye foam runners, aren't they? Aren't those the Kanyes, by the way? Like the wave runners? Because like this was literally when he was like first linking up with Kanye, I think. Anyway.
That people like Hassan Piker would first decry the corruption by what is fundamentally just crony capitalism, and then call for a select few people to have centralized control over the economy, with seemingly no understanding that centralizing power also means centralizing corruption. And guess what? That's exactly what has happened in every state.
I don't see a difference between those two. I think centralized corruption and dispersed corruption are both bad. Like, I don't.
Yeah, no,
like,
you don't understand.
Isn't
dude.
it worse when like the government?
No, you don't understand. That's crony capitalism because real capitalism hasn't been tried yet.
Yeah, right.
Real capitalism hasn't been tried yet. Once we do, though, oh my God, dude. Once we open up the baby market, the free market of babies, okay, as Rothbard intended, we will literally arrive at full tilt, perfect utopian capitalism. Okay. Anyway, yeah, you can have decentralized socialism. Yeah, in your mind. Okay.
I mean, I think that sounds nice. It's just like, if you do, the Americans are going to come in and wipe the floor with you.
Yeah, that's great. It happens sometimes. Could happen.
That's a nice idea.
Yeah, I like it. Anyway, let's continue.
State and country that has tried to implement socialist economies, where people's greed for wealth makes them want to seek political power rather than...
I don't understand, like, dude, the greed for wealth is good under capitalism. like that's your modus operandi. Like, that's literally your operating principle. That's what your starting point is. Like, greed is good. Like, what?
Produce something and sell it into a marketplace, but let's give Hassan the benefit of the doubt, because maybe what he really is calling for is socialism in the sense of redistribution and welfare systems. Looking from this perspective, there's...
Oh, he's saying maybe Hassan's a Keynesian. I want to think...